Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexios here, Sunday morning, Sunday special report. And today we're talking about ESPN. This is something I tried to do a couple weeks ago, but then DARKO got hired and we kind of changed the Sunday report because of the big news of DARKO getting hired. And we wanted to talk about that, obviously, because we're excited. But I intended to do this during the finals while it was still going on because ESPN was just kind of like, all right, they have a lot of criticism these days from a lot of different places. Most specifically, Michael Malone in the finals talking a whole lot about how ESPN overcovers LeBron James and the Lakers. There's no denying that this is absolutely true. That ESPN has a focus on certain teams and certain players that is overly done. And in some ways, it's really annoying. I know in baseball, they overly cover the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Mets. You know, in every sport, they have some sort of like favoritism in which they overcover certain athletes or certain teams. And it's just annoying. It's really, really annoying. Like, you know, Charles Barkley's criticism of why do we show the Lakers so much when the Lakers weren't very good in recent years is exactly dead on. The fact that we talk up more about LeBron James exiting the playoffs than the excellence and the amazing things that Denver Nuggets were doing is a travesty. It's a joke. And honestly, in some ways, just as much as this channel is a fan channel for the Toronto Raptors, ESPN is a fan channel for the Los Angeles Lakers. It's really, really annoying. As a kid, I remember the first time I ever went to an NBA game was in 1988, and it was in Atlanta at the Omni. It was a rite of passage. I was 13 years old, and my brother and I, my younger brother, were left by my parents to go to this NBA game. It was the first time ever I was on my own without a babysitter or my parents in public. And they entrusted responsibility in my brother and I to go to an NBA game, the Boston Celtics at the Atlanta Hawks. We saw Larry Bird, Moses Malone, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Spud Webb, Doc Rivers, Kevin Willis, Reggie Lewis, Dennis Johnson, John Battle, Dominique Wilkins at that game. And it was amazing. It was the first ever NBA game I went to. And it was so fantastic. And it was such a rite of passage for my brother and I to go without any parental supervision, me being a teenager finally. So we went to the game, and in the game, I saw Dominique do his signature windmill slam in real life. We were in the 100 level. It was awesome. The Omni never sold out, even with Larry Bird and Dominique Wilkins there. The Omni really didn't sell very well because of different reasons. But anyway, I saw Dominique take that ball and lock it back and come around and windmill jam that in real life. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was the first NBA game I'd ever went to in my life. And I was hooked from that point for sure. And I went home. And when I got home, I turned on ESPN. And it was a sports network at that time. And I saw the dunk I saw in real life on a highlight on TV. And I remember that feeling. I was like, I was there. I saw this dunk in real life. But now I'm seeing the dunk on TV. This is the very early genesis of dunk highlight culture on ESPN. The 80s with Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins in their dunk contest very much was like one of the most popular things on ESPN broadcasting at that time. They would rerun the dunk contest on ESPN at different times just for people's entertainment to watch again and again. At that time, ESPN was a channel that actually felt like a news channel. They had two anchors sitting at a desk doing Sports Center, telling you the news about the day in sports, telling you the stats, showing you the highlights, and talking about the game, the stats, the accomplishments on the game, instead of all this extra bullshit around the game, whether it's like TMZ kind of shit or like a porn star Mariah Mills kind of shit. It was about sports. It was about stats. It was about excellence and achievement in those sports. And you could watch Sports Center and you felt like you were watching a news program. Well, it's not like that anymore. This shit is so fucked up with conjecture and opinion pieces and pundits and entertainers, not even journalists anymore, that you can't watch ESPN Sports Center and feel like it is a genuine news broadcast. That just went away. You know, somebody like Neil Everett, who retired this weekend from the Sports Center desk, is the epitome of the kind of person that used to run the channel. Keith Olbermann, Charlie Steinbeck, all the different people from way back, Robin Robbins, so many great people that sat at the Sports Center desk. And it meant something because they were here to inform us and slightly entertain us. Well, at some point, this shit went off the rails with whatever they're doing on that fucking channel at this point. It's more Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless and that kind of bullshit than, the stuff from before that was so good about ESPN. Just the anchors sitting at the desk, talking about the sports, telling you the stats, giving you the news about what's going on in sports today. I miss the old ESPN. It's turned into a circus of malarkey. Malarkey, that's what I call it. Yeah, malarkey. Just a lot of not redeemable, important anything about it. Just bullshit opinions and dumbass shit. And, fluffing the Laker Nation in stupid, weird ways. It's just, I have no respect for it anymore. It's like the Disney parent company does not need to be doing the NBA anymore. I'm sorry. And when these TV deals come up, I want them gone. No more games on ESPN. No more games on ABC. Y'all suck. Seriously, you're a horrible media group to handle the NBA because you don't know how to do it. TNN is a shining example of how to do it way, way better. I love watching the NBA on TNT. Turner Broadcasting has always done basketball right. But ABC, you fucking suck. And I hope you lose your contract to NBC and we can hear that theme once again. I want that John Tesh theme back on because it'll mean that some excellence to broadcasting the NBA will come back because ESPN, you're a disgrace. The way you handled the playoffs this year, the way you sucked LeBron James's cock, all through that whole entire playoff was disgusting. And I'm sick of it. We don't need you covering NBA anymore. You can go ahead and cover it on your Sports Center on the side, but we don't want you to have any more games. We don't want to have any more on ESPN at all. Adam Silver, hear me right now. Make that TV contract go right back to NBC, and we'll see NBC and TNT take care of basketball the way it's supposed to. And fuck Disney and ABC and fucking ESPN and their stupid ass shit. Because they turned this sport into a farce. They've taken all journalistic integrity to covering the sport in the proper way away because of stupid ass people that they put on First Take and all their dumbass punditry shows. So please, please switch it back. I have so many fond memories of NBA on NBC, even if I don't like NBC anymore. I boycott them because of how they treated Conan O'Brien. So I don't watch NBC, but I will watch the NBA on NBC again because they will treat it properly with the honor and respect that it deserves. The first time the Raptors ever played on the NBA on NBC was on a Sunday afternoon. It was Vince Carter and the Toronto Raptors versus the Phoenix Suns. And I remember going to that game. I went to that game and was in the stands and watched Vince drop 50 on the Suns the first ever time we were on NBC on a Sunday afternoon in 2000. Ah, man, that was a great memory. And they treated it right. It meant something that we were on NBA on NBC on Sunday afternoon. There's no fucking prestige to being on ESPN's NBA games. There's nothing. They watered it down, made it so stupid. They picked the wrong matchups. They focus on the wrong shit. They don't give rewards to the players that actually deserve to get put on blast. They just pick and choose personas or people ahead of time. LaMelo, Zion. They just pick little jabronis that don't deserve it yet. These people need to earn it before you put them on blast like you do ESPN. You just want to make little highlight kids into somebody when they're not even that already, and then they flame out and you look stupid, just like Ben Simmons. So I'm just saying, take the superstars that are come naturally from achievement and doing great things like Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. These are people you should be putting on blast with profiles and stories instead of jabroni, seventh man on the Lakers or some shit like that. We don't give a fuck about the eighth man on the Lakers. Tell us about the MVP. Tell us about Jamal Murray from Kitchener, Ontario. I'm sick of it. The biased reporting of ESPN for the Yankees, the Lakers, and all this kind of shit, I get it. They're big markets. And you think you're talking to your target audience. Maybe that's what's wrong. Y'all worry about your target audience too much. Maybe you should just cover the sports and tell us what the fuck happened in the sports instead of telling us what we should be liking or watching, the Lakers or the Yankees. Fuck that shit. I want to learn about all the sports. You put curling on there, you put all that stuff on there, and take out all the extra fluff, LeBron James bullshit content y'all keep on putting out there all the fucking time. I get so sick of hearing about LeBron, especially when he ain't doing jack shit that's worthwhile anyway in the last couple years. I'm so, I really hope that they switch that TV deal, if you cannot tell, from ABC and ESPN right on back to NBA on NBC. Oh my gosh, I hope so. All right, let me check in with y'all. Me doing my 10-minute rant to start this. Y'all talk to me about ESPN. How y'all feel about it? How y'all feel about how they treat the Raptors? How y'all feel about how they treat the Lakers? How y'all feel about how they treat the NBA just in general? Please let me know in the comments. And yeah, I went off a little bit. I guess I just can't stop cussing. I wish I could not stop cussing. I mean, I wish I could stop cussing on a Sunday. I know, but it's just how I am. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. Dana's here first. Canadian Dana in the house. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you, Canadian Dana. Always good to see you first in the morning. Trevor J saying, good morning, Raptor family. Hello, Trevor J. Good to see you. I love the sunglasses. I love the and I love the YouTube. That's great. Nameless is saying, good morning, ladies and freaks. It should be an interesting episode today, and you all make it even better. 100%. Thank you, Nameless. You're just like a kinder, gentler Nameless recently, and I love it. I love it. It's great. I love this. Acoustic guitar and stuff. Hello. Hello. What are you playing on the acoustic guitar today? Is it Stairway to Heaven? Do, 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 do. I don't know. That's what the kids at my high school used to play on the acoustic guitar. I had my high school reunion yesterday in Florida, but I didn't go, y'all. It was 30-year high school reunion yesterday. Oh my gosh. I can remember all those people being out there with the acoustic guitars in the back of Lincoln High School playing Stairway to Heaven over and over again while I'm on break from electronics class. Yeah, I remember that acoustic guitar and stuff. That's right. Guardian Transit saying all the Lakers stuff is annoying, isn't it? They could be like the shittiest team in the league with the worst record, and they will still be the lead story on SportsCenter. They have gone so TMZ with that channel. It's like no journalistic integrity. And then there's other problems with it now. You know, there's a lot of parody sites on Twitter now, Ballsack Sports and that whole phenomenon. People are putting out bullshit in all kinds of different ways on social media. And it's tough to figure out what is true and what isn't, what's fake and what isn't. Well, you know, if I was CNN, ESPN, any kind of reputable cable channel, I would be going heavy on journalistic integrity. Because in today's world, more and more, it's becoming harder to find like places where you can trust the information because there's so much bullshit out there at this point. If you really want to be the right place and the place that people will gravitate to, you want to be a trusted source. And I don't feel that way about CNN or ESPN at this point because there's too much punditry. There's too much like talking heads. They're just talking out of their ass. And a lot of times there's some sort of like weird corporate motive for why these channels talk about what they're talking about right now. You know, in some ways, listen, I know it's important what's happening in Russia right now with the coup attempt this weekend, but Elon's Twitter is shoving it down my throat and specific sides to it to me. It's like they're curating what my timeline should be. And I didn't ask for anything from Russia. They just put it on there specifically. Well, when you curate your content on a channel, you want to make it kind of feel good, right? Like 60 Minutes. It has a journalistic integrity to it that you feel like these are good reporters. They're doing their due diligence as far as like what reporters should do as far as reporting the truth and sticking to the facts and stuff. You don't get that feel from ESPN anymore. There's just too much out of pocket, crazy ass opinions, stupid ass shit. And then there's just like, there's a problem with fake news at this point. In fact, the ESPN people are so bad at their job, they fell for fake news on Ballsack Sports recently in the recent years, where they saw something, it was a parody on Twitter, and they thought it was real, and they ran with it and put it on ESPN. That's what I'm saying. If you are a news channel or supposed to be a news channel, if you're just an entertainment channel, CNN or ESPN, then fucking just be an entertainment channel. And don't try and masquerade like you're some sort of news source. Now, if you're going to be a news source, go ahead and be a news source and stick to the facts and give us the news and no conjecture, stupid opinion pieces, pundits, talking heads, and all their stupid ass shit that comes with them. That's what I'm saying. Today's day and age, there's going to be a thirst for people to want the truth and real journalistic integrity and reporting. And if I was a media conglomerate, big corporation, news channel, I would start leaning real heavy into that, because there's going to be a point in the near future where our society is going to be starving and thirsting for real news content that they can trust. And you can ruin your reputations real fast, CNN and ESPN, with your garbage, tabloid, stupid ass shit that y'all do on your channels at this point. Nobody's going to think that you're reliable anymore, and they will stop watching. They may watch you for the highlights. They may watch you for the Laker stuff. Laker fans will probably watch it for the 24/7 LeBron coverage. Well, you go ahead and be a Lakers fan channel. You go ahead and be a Yankees fan channel. You go ahead and be a Red Sox fan channel. And the rest of us will be like, ESPN's a joke. It's a joke. It's a fan channel for certain teams, and it's a tabloid, conjecture, stupid talking head, opinion piece, stupid piece of crap that has no time for me. I have no time for it. Whatever. I'm done with it. It's whatever. And that's how I feel about it. Seriously. All right, let's see. G saying, I don't watch them anymore because of how predictable they are. Lakers and LeBron. That's right. In some ways, TSN here in Toronto is very much Leafs. Let's see. What are the top 10 stories on TSN tonight on SportsCenter? Leafs, Blue Jays, Leafs, Raptors, something like that. It's really crazy, like how they really overdo it with certain teams and certain things. They say, well, that's the interest. This is Leaf country. Everyone wants to see it. Well, it's changed a bit. The Raptors need their due shine, and y'all need to start treating us in a negative, not in a negative way, in a positive way, because y'all been negative towards us in certain ways and how you broadcast us. I hear how you write your articles, Michael Grange. I hear how you slant things sometimes on TSN, the way you do against the Raptors, and like worry. Everybody's still worried about our team. Well, we ain't. We got Gradey Dick, and we're just having a party now. We're having a party. We're a fun, good time kind of crew. And y'all are all weird and kind of like, what the hell are the Raptors doing? Do they really think they can run it back with that team? You're damn right we can. And we do think we can. And we are. So it doesn't even matter what y'all think, because we're going to do that shit. You're going to find out real quick. That's right. Yeah. All right, Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Raptorfreak crew. ESPN has tons of layoffs, so their strategy of Lakers has not been working. Karma. Gradey Dick, U.S. coverage, all the rage. ESPN featuring him a lot, too. Listen, he's just a personality. In some ways, he may get us more attention just because of, his looks and how he is and just being goofy. Yeah, I could see that. There's a lot of layoffs going on around sports media with The Athletic and different places and ESPN. And I'm going to tell you why this is happening. It's happening everywhere around anywhere that people write. AI is taking jobs. These people are getting canned because the corporation is going to cut corners and try and make everything AI generated. They feel like they don't need anybody to write anything right because they have AI to do it now. That's a big reason why a lot of people are losing their jobs in sports writing right now. A whole bunch of people on Twitter saying, I just got laid off from this. I got laid off from this. And ESPN's laying people off. Well, there's a big reason why right there. AI taking jobs already, y'all. Let's see. Mike is saying, salute the real ones. Project Truth always. Honestly, the news is now just biased trends to keep viewers happy in their bubble. It doesn't have to be that, though, Mike. It really could be. These are the games from last night. This is the highlights. This is the high score. There's a little bit of box score. Give us a little funny joke, maybe a little pun about something that happened in the game, like old SportsCenter used to be. But there's a big chunk that'll be just dumb and stupid. It'll be like a dumb, public opinion piece, or it could be something that's just fluffing the Lakers or something like that. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. They could do it right if they really wanted to get back to it. But I guess they really thrive on Skip Bayless's out-of-pocket, stupid-ass shit that he says. And their personalities are just kind of like idiots at this point. Like they're clowns. Seriously. A lot of the people that are on ESPN every day are clowns. And I just don't find them like very interesting or like good at what they do, or just like why? Why would anybody want to watch this regularly? It's just crap. Seriously, I'd rather look on websites and read it from their website online. ESPN website is fantastic in a lot of ways. They are very good with all the graphs and the different stat places and all kinds of different things. You can go look at stuff, but some of the articles are stupid for sure. They're already doing a power rankings for next season, and they've got the Raptors ranked 21st out of 30. That's crazy to me. We're right in the middle. We should be around 15. You're downgrading us that much because Nick Nurse left? You're crazy. Y'all are going to find out we're better without Nick Nurse, and you'll find out too late, and it'll be fun because we'll surprise you with it. Check out Logical Raptors Fanatic. He had a great piece come out yesterday on the new CBA and how it affects the new NBA and the Raptors specifically. So please give him a like, a follow, and a subscribe, and check out his new piece from yesterday, Logical Raptors Fanatic on YouTube. Trevor's saying even when LeBron and the Lakers lost, they were still talking about them. I know, that's part of what I'm saying. It's like, look, let them just go away. We don't want to hear about them over and over again. It's almost like, let's play a game where you try and watch ESPN Sports Center, and as soon as they bring up LeBron or the Lakers, you have to turn it off. Let's see how long you can get into each episode each night. As soon as you hear something about LeBron or the Lakers, you turn it off. And boom, I only watched for 30 seconds tonight. Oh, I only watched for 2 minutes tonight. Yeah, it's like that. Seriously. G saying, true, Cool Cat. They had Scoot, Wemby, and Gradey on a thumbnail as if Gradey was the pick 3. I love that. I love that. In some ways, he is the talk of the draft because of his crazy red disco ball suit. And yeah, that's great. Listen, that's not a bad thing. I mean, he's more interesting than Brandon Miller, and that's why they got him on that thumbnail. I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to show some diversity. I don't know. I don't know why they put Gradey on like that, but I'm not going to complain about it. Any exposure for the Raptors is good exposure. In fact, they have a new set of Funkos coming out. They do these Funkos. They did a Vince Carter one before where they commemorate the Slam cover of Vince Carter, and they have the little Funko dolls in the box, and they have the Slam cover, the iconic Slam cover with Vince Carter, and a little Funko of Vince. And it's cool. They're a collector item. Well, they came out with 4 more recently, and there's no Celtics one, and people are all pissed from Celtics Nation, like, where's the Celtics one? But guess what? They got one for Toronto. They did the Scotty one with the black chain Slam cover. There's a little Funko of Scotty with the chain and the sunglasses from his Slam cover that's coming out. And the Raptorfreak gonna go get it. That's right. I'm gonna have that at my house, that Slam cover with Scotty, and I should probably go get the Vince one too. It's so I can have a set of 2 Raptor Slam cover Funkos. But yeah, they don't have Boston. They don't have anybody else. They put Toronto in there. I think LeBron's one of them. Derrick Rose. And they're really weird picked ones. They're like different. Like they're not exactly who you would think they are. But Scotty's one of them. And I love seeing Scotty's one of them. Let's see. Monique is here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the super fan, Monique Lawrence. Always good to see you, Monique. And I hope you're doing very well this Sunday morning. Tom Dukes is saying the NBA promotes racial justice in the U.S., but because it derives a multi-billion-dollar portion of its annual revenue from China, it has largely remained silent on China's human rights violations. Bam. Wow. Tom Duke hitting heavy and hard on this one. That is, this is a big deal. The NBA's partnership with China does cloud it from being critical of that country and its human rights abuses. And this is very true. In fact, if anybody kind of speaks out about it, they get punished for this. Idiot in Philadelphia found that out. Daryl Morey. This is one of the few times I actually liked Daryl Morey was when he got in trouble for talking about China because he's right. And he really got in trouble because Houston's one of the most important franchises in the NBA to China because its connection with Yao Ming. And, that was a big deal. And then even LeBron making a couple comments here and there that weren't too good. Yeah, this is an issue, and this is about free speech. And once again, this is about corporations and where money comes from and covering things up and not talking about it. Tom's just saying they're hypocrites. They talk about racial justice, and that's good. That's a good thing. But in some ways, they're covering up a really bad thing on the other side of the planet. And yeah, I got what you're saying, Tom, and you're exactly right. There's all kinds of weird controversies politically with ESPN over the years, all kinds of crazy stuff that, they step in it sometimes and different things happen in different ways. And, I have a Instagram or no Wikipedia page called Criticism of ESPN, and it's just a laundry list of all these crazy controversies that were spawned and happened involving ESPN. It says all right, I'm reading this in the first sentence. The second sentence says this. Additionally, ESPN has been criticized for focusing too much on men's college basketball, LeBron James, Aaron Judge, Lionel Messi, and football, and very little on other sports, such as the National Hockey League and Major League Baseball. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. In some ways, the way they cut the pie is annoying. I remember the Sports Center as I was a kid, you really did get to see all sports. You would see weightlifting and really fringe sports sometimes. Like you maybe see frisbee golf. But no, now it's like they're eating up the very special time, a precious time up, and it's all going to like LeBron for like 20 minutes. And then they'll do some highlights otherwise. It's crazy. It's so crazy. That's right. And Tom, thank you for bringing that up. There's a lot of weird controversies with ESPN we can dig up. Sure, we can. And good morning to you. Leslie's here. Good to see Leslie Hart, a great Raptor freak. Good morning, everyone. ESPN is an entertainment channel for the Lakers. Yeah, I don't understand why they so heavily overcover the Lakers. Seriously, if they were like a dominant team or they were like a high class like playoff team most of the last few years, I would understand it more. But they have not been a very good team. They have not been fun to watch. They have not been entertaining. Other than LeBron playing for them, they have not played there's not a whole lot about them that's attractive because they've been losing a lot and they're so overhyped. In some ways, the part of the problem with the Lakers is ESPN itself. Seriously. Jimmy Pope's here. Good to see the Pope of Positivity. That's awesome that you got to see those guys play. My first NBA game was in Toronto against the Magic the year after we won the ring. I would have loved to go as a kid. Yeah, I went to a couple of games when I was little before the Raptors existed. That game in particular was the first one, and it does stick in my mind. The fact that I got to see Larry Bird play in his prime before he got really bad with his back was awesome. And seeing Dominique in person do the windmill slam, and like Spud Webb was in that game. Reggie Lewis hadn't died yet. I saw Micheal and Parrish, DJ. Kevin Willis when he was very young with the Hawks at that time, Moses Malone, and then of course Doc Rivers was on that team as one of the guards for the Atlanta Hawks. And then after the game, I ended up meeting Rick Barry. He was the color analyst for the Atlanta Hawks and TBS on the Superstation, and he just happened to be ring at courtside. And my brother and I walked up, and he signed our programs. And I didn't even actually realize the gravity of getting Rick Barry to sign my program at the time, and that he was one of the top 50 greatest players in the NBA of all time. I did not realize that at the time. He was just some white guy who was calling the game, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll let you sign this. And I saw it later, and I was like, Rick Barry. And then I looked up who he was. I was like, holy crap, this is kind of a big, important player for sure from his history. But I was a kid at that time. And then I went to a preseason Magic game after the Magic started. And that was pretty cool. It was in Tallahassee, which was really cool. They did a preseason Magic game in Tallahassee. And I got to see Reggie Miller and the Pacers with Chuck Person and Vern Fleming. And I think Rick Smits was on. No, Detlef was there. Detlef Schrempf. And against the Magic, who had Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott. I don't think Shaq was there yet. Shaq wasn't there yet, and neither was Penny. But it was very early Magic before Shaq. And that was cool. So those were like the first two NBA games I ever went to. And then the ones after that were the ones with the Raptors. I did go to a Raptor game in the first season. Very early in the first season around Christmas, I saw them play the Pistons in the Sky Dome when it was the first season with the Raptors. And the Pistons had like Grant Hill and Lindsey Hunter and Allen Houston. It was that Pistons team. So this was like around 94, 95. It was fun. And that at Hawks Celtics game, I'll always remember because I saw Dominique dunk on ESPN later that day. And I felt that feeling of like, oh, ESPN highlight, that's cool. I saw that in real life, kind of thing. G saying, Gary Sr. telling fans to be patient, and said it was 5 players playing one-on-one due to the system, and 9 players at all times were in trade talks. There was so much uncertainty and instability. Now, I don't know if Gary's right about this or not. Like, I have a hard time believing some of what he's saying here. Now, I get the part where he's saying it was 5 players playing one-on-one. That totally looked like that out there. They weren't connected, and there was so much isolation trying to beat guys one-on-one. That totally looked like that. I get that part, and he's probably exactly right on that. And that really is on Nick. But the other part, I'm not totally sure about this. Now, if they are talking about how 9 players on the team were always in trade talks on Twitter, then I would believe it. But I don't believe that the team actually had 9 guys on the block for trading. I don't believe that. Because honestly, first of all, we know our team doesn't talk and put things out there. And we also know Masai's very much on the record saying he wants to keep these guys together, that he likes keeping guys and paying them and continuing to develop them here. So in some ways, Gary Sr. is inferring what the chatter is around the team and not necessarily what Masai and Bobby were actually telling them. Like if players were worried about getting traded this season, they need to turn off social media and go talk to Masai and understand that just because things are unsure and you're not totally sure about what's going on, and you hear a lot of dumb noise on social media in different places, you need to go talk to Bobby and Masai and find out from the horse's mouth if they actually have anybody on the block. I don't think they had anybody on the block last year. Seriously, they've been very defiantly defending against bad trades for OG and Pascal and different people for the last couple years. So I don't believe Gary on that part. I think that if he's trying to infer the noise, like if he's on social media and he's seeing, oh, they're talking about OG, they're talking about Pascal, they're talking about you, Gary, they're talking about Fred, that's different than actually the team having guys up on the trading block. So I don't believe what Gary said there. Because honestly, if they did, why would they come and tell them? Like, seriously, why would they come and say, Pascal, we've got you on the trading block right now? That doesn't serve anything. So in some ways, you can reason through what Gary Sr. said on the Raptors show this week as kind of being bullshit. If you believe that they were all on the trading block, why don't you just go ask Bobby? And also, are you thinking they're on the trading block because of knuckleheads on Twitter just making shit up? Yeah, don't fall for that. This is a new era. Y'all can't listen to Twitter anymore. If you hear fucking rumors about OG on Twitter, don't listen to them. Go talk to Masai, please, Gary Trent Sr. Because honestly, if these guys were really worried in that kind of way, I don't understand that. Because the GM and the team president have both said very often they want to keep this team together. And that kind of instability, I don't believe that. I don't know why. I think Gary Sr. is full of shit for saying that, honestly. Leslie's saying at Tom Duke, you are so on point. Yeah, that's a hypocritical stance in some ways. I mean, I want more justice for everybody racially in all kinds of different ways, and they're kind of different things. Like they can do good work on this continent and just be a blind eye to what's happening in China. I mean, it's money. It's all money. Money is king. Money from China is telling them to look the other way and not talk about human rights abuse in China. Well, that's part of it. That's whole part of the relationship between the NBA and China is don't talk shit about how we do things over here, or you will lose our money. The NBA is like, all right, we won't talk about what you're doing over there. This fucked up. We'll just have to be quiet about it because we want your money. That's how it is. So yeah, let's keep going with the comments. It jumped forward, so I won't backtrack until I get to where we're at. And yeah, I want the specific stuff about what's going on with ESPN. Mike is saying ESPN and other media companies have more exposure, but people are more or less informed than ever before. Backward in theory of what the purpose is. How does most people not really know how things work? Laugh out loud. That's part of the problem is that dumb people are spawned from ESPN in the way they cover things. We need more intelligent, informed viewers. So start educating the people better, ESPN, like you used to. I mean, I know how you were in the 90s. You guys were awesome. You really were a valuable source for information about sports. At this point, it's just become just so much crap and very little like good content that it's like you have to wade through so much bullshit and it's not even worth it. So yeah, it's important that you inform fans better so they can be more informed on social media and not being so stupid. In fact, your style reverberates into the fans and they become more stupid and crazy and out of pocket with their opinions because of your stupid ass talking heads. So you guys are a huge influence and you're kind of making sports a trash dump with the way you cover it. Seriously, ESPN, you need to fucking be shook and like look in the mirror and get a chance to get yourself back on track for what your ultimate goal should be for what you're doing with your channel. Is it just about entertainment and making as much money, corporation style, or are you supposed to inform people about sports and facts and truth in those kind of ways? Seriously, are you a news report? Are you a fucking opinion magazine with a bunch of idiot blowhards that are on the staff? I don't know what you are at this point. It's really dumb. Let's see. Yeah, Tom Duke is saying, "Good morning, Leslie. It's all about that bottom line," and he's got those dollar signs sticking the tongue out. Yeah, it's all about that bottom line with ESPN and Disney Corp. That's right. Nameless is saying they're mixed corporation with journalism and destroy the integrity. That's right, Nameless. That's right. Facepalm times two. That's right. Trevor J saying they treat the Raptors like the outside kids of the NBA family. Yeah, sure, fine. Fine. That's fine. We can be that submarine. We don't need your shine. That's part of it. Like, as much as y'all put the Lakers on blast and nobody else on blast, we don't care. Honestly, in some ways, if we don't appear on ESPN, that's good because it's probably bullshit or bad stuff y'all are trying to put on us. You know, like Nick Nurse leaving recently. Oh, I'm sure you covered the hell out of Nick Nurse leaving Toronto. Yeah, you would cover that, ESPN, because that is something that fits what you want to do with your narratives of how you want to write things. Yeah, in some ways, listen, we can blame ESPN for the shaping of the perception of Toronto and how the Raptors are viewed by fans in the US. We really very much can blame ESPN for the bias, the misunderstanding, in some ways, the xenophobia towards Canada and the hate towards Canada and certain things in certain ways because they make us the other. They really, really do make us the other. They are part of what shapes and molds young minds on sports in the States. And well, if they treat us like an other or something like that, then that makes xenophobia. That makes people kind of like feel like, okay, Canadians are inferior to America. That there's a lot of that kind of bullshit. You know, I watched an old episode of Monday Night Raw and Jerry the King Lawler was on there and they had like Canadian veterans come out and they said, oh, there's no Canadian veterans. Canada doesn't fight in wars. That's absolute complete bullshit. I have relatives that fought in wars that were Canadian. In World War II, my grandfather fought for the Royal Canadian Air Force in World War II. So in some ways, you're disrespecting veterans from our country. That's the kind of mentality that states has, that they poo-poo everything we do up here. Well, we do things to help out too. In fact, we were very instrumental in the taking down of Osama bin Laden when they got him. There were Canadians involved in that mission. So, you know, there's a lot of different stuff that like the U.S. media will shape to try and put people to put Canada on a lower peg. That there's some sort of like inferiority thing. They say that we feel inferior to them. No, we just want to feel equal as far as like not treated like a little brother or step down kind of kid. In fact, in some ways, the way the U.S. media treats Canada shows that they're insecure about us and that they have to keep pushing us down. So that's a part of it. Is like all the shaping of the opinions about the Toronto Raptors in the NBA and certain things is molded by ESPN content makers. So we can blame them a huge chunk for the reason why the Raptors get slighted in NBA circles in the United States because it is molded and conditioned by the reporting by the ESPN, the channel. Yeah, and you know, TNT and other places are just as guilty in certain ways, but in a lot of ways, ESPN is the most guilty of all of them, just because of the way they slant or they put down Toronto in little weird ways that they don't have to. Seriously, they really don't. You can treat Toronto just like you treat Chicago. You can treat Toronto just like you treat Cleveland. There's not a whole lot of difference other than a border wall and a nation, and that's it. You know, it's really crazy. All right, let's keep going. Monique is bringing up that D'Angelo Russell is in Toronto right now at U of T. I'm looking at a thing on Twitter. Varsity Blues basketball is saying NBA star D'Angelo Russell came to U of T Summer League this week and got buckets. So I don't know what's going on here. I know this: D'Angelo Russell is on the outs with the Lakers. They don't want to keep him anymore. It's a really sad story because in some ways D'Angelo loves the Lakers. He got drafted by them and he played for them very early in his career. And then he went on an odyssey around the NBA to Minnesota and a couple other places. And he found himself back on the Lakers recently in this last year. Well, he loved being back on the Lakers and he actually did play pretty good for them. But in some ways, he's getting rejected and sent away again. It's kind of depressing and sad. So in some ways, it's interesting that D'Angelo's up here in Toronto at our U of T doing a summer league up here. I don't want to read into this, Monique. In fact, I don't want D'Angelo Russell on the Raptors. He's a high usage, not a very efficient player. He'll shoot around 30% from all around the field, not just at three. And I'm not into having that kind of player. So I'm a hard pass on him coming to the Raptors roster. But I think it's very interesting and telling that he's in Toronto working out right now this weekend. It definitely is telling, but I don't think it's telling because he's coming to Toronto. I think it's just that he just happens to be in Canada. I feel bad for the guy, honestly, because in some ways he had a whirlwind year where he got accepted once again as a Laker, and Lakers fans really loved him again. But then he went to a point where they didn't anymore, and now they want to get rid of him all of a sudden again. I feel bad for him because this will be like twice in a row that Lakers have rejected him. And it's fucked up. It's not right in some ways. It's sad because I know he really does love playing for the Lakers and he wanted to continue to be there. I don't think he will be after this summer. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Sunday. Who could have thought Grady's suit would be the catalyst to put the Raptors on the map? It's okay. We'll make noise this season, give them something to talk about. Yeah, in some ways, they like the goofiness of him. Grady Dick is made for ESPN content because he is so goofy and kind of like, attractive to younger viewers. And just his personality and his quirkiness and kind of stuff is attractive. Yesterday, Grady, I'm going to be watching Grady because he's always doing something interesting. He was at the OVO Center yesterday with Marquis Noel. And I love that those two guys are coming in as kind of like a rookie cohort. Much like Scotty, Justin, and Delano 2 years ago, Christian, Ron Harper Jr. Last year. Well, Marquis and Grady are buddies already. And they showed they had a clip. Grady had a clip yesterday of them at the OVO Center, and he's got a football. He's throwing the football across the whole length of the OVO Center. And this is something I found out about Grady yesterday, is Grady's an all-around athlete. He's one of those kids when he grew up, he was good at everything he played. Like he's very good at baseball. He's very good at football, and he was very good at basketball, obviously, when he started playing it. So Grady is actually like a super athlete where he grew up, and he won everything he did. Well, he was showing off his arm with Noel at the OVO Center yesterday, and he was throwing perfect passes. Like perfect passes, right? All the way through, right to Marquis, and then Marquis threw it back to him. Obviously, Noel's probably got good passing with the football also, since he's such a good passer with the basketball. But it's really cool and fun to see Grady and Marquis goofing around in the OVO Center yesterday, throwing the pigskin around. Now, that's interesting to me. You're not seeing clips of them with the basketball. They're on off time. They just want, Grady was probably like, I want to get a football in here. Bobby, do you have a football? Yeah, we got a football around here somewhere, Grady. Let me use it. Yeah, let's just throw the football for a while. That's very different. We haven't seen many people go into the OVO Center with a football and start tossing around just for kicks. And that's kind of fun. I like that. That's something different. And it shows the athleticism of Grady all around. He is a winner as an athlete from his history as a kid. So just so y'all know, let's keep going. Yeah. Danelle saying, wow, Lex didn't realize you loved ESPN and ABC that much. I do. You can tell how much I love them in that way. They're the best coverage of the NBA. During the finals, they only covered the team playing, the champion Lakers and loser Celtics. So honest. Yeah, I can tell that Denal's being sarcastic, even though I can't really detect sarcasm in real life talking to someone or especially through text. But I can tell he's being sarcastic in this one because there's no way that this is true because that's not true. During the finals, they only covered the teams playing the champion Lakers and loser Celtics. So be honest, because that's not who played. But Denial's exactly right, and I'm sure that Denial has some of the same feelings I have about how ESPN and ABC covered the finals and things. There were a lot of fans that were like, "We're sad to see TNT and their coverage, and we kind of wish they could do the finals instead of ESPN." Really, seriously, can we have TNT just do it instead? And I hope that Adam Silver really thinks about this when they're figuring out the new TV contract with who's going to get this contract. I really hope he freezes out that media conglomerate. Disney, ABC, and ESPN. I hope he freezes them out and he gives that contract right back to NBC, because we know NBC will handle the NBA well. They historically handle them so well. And just think about the classic feel to hearing that John Tesh theme song starting basketball games again. Oh man, it's going to bring back a whole bunch of nostalgia, and it could actually really help the NBA in some ways. That song is really powerful, trust me. Yeah. I know, just for anything, just for the song, give it to NBC again, please, just for the song. Yeah. All right. Superfan Monique saying, always a champion, Sergio. That's right. Monique Lawrence reporting to us on Facebook yesterday that Sergio Scariolo has lost the finals of the Italian series to Milan and Ettore Messina. So, yes, Sergio did end up losing the Italian championship to Milan. So, it's too bad. It is what it is. But as Monique's saying, Sergio will always be a champion and a winner in our hearts for sure. And he still is. He's a badass. And you go, Sergio. It's too bad you didn't get the championship. And you know what? Who knows what would have been with us and coaching us. But I'm really happy it's Darko. And I know you are too. He's somebody that is a good friend of yours. And who knows, now that you're done, maybe you do want to return to Toronto and help out Coach Rajakovic with his rookie year as a head coach. I don't know. Maybe not. But if you did, we wouldn't be upset here in Toronto if you were assistant coach once again for the Raptors. Let's see. Fiercely saying ESPN equals Lakers-centric TMZ. That's right. That's right. And in some ways, at some point over the years, what they cover on ESPN turned more and more like tabloid or fluff or just stupid. Like, seriously, a lot of the time before, they kind of had integrity. Like, they would do 60 minutes kind of style reporting. Like, we'll do a cover story on LeBron and like this aspect about his life with athletics, and that's fine. It's interest stories about the athletes is great, but there's been blurring of lines. The amount that they talk about Ja Morant is very indicative of this. In fact, this is Zion Williamson is another example recently. Like, these are guys having problems in their private lives. And does ESPN's factor in it all make it any better? No, they kind of make it worse. They over expose it, and they kind of put these guys' private lives on blast in a way that isn't totally fair to them. Ja Morant saying that he feels like people are out to get him. Well, he probably feels a lot of that because of fucking ESPN and the way they talk about him on that channel constantly and his problems like that. Sure, we need to hear the reports and the stories. Just report the facts. But when you go real deep on it and then you really get so much content, so much airtime out of one subject like that, it's a little bit overkill. And in some ways, you don't help the problems with Ja. Seriously, in some ways, you may be feeding it. So that's something we got to talk about right there. Denial's getting a laugh from Mike. I like that. And Monique is saying no to Nameless. Yeah. Sergio did not win. He lost. I think, I don't know, it was game 7 or what was the final game, and they did lose to Milan. So the Vittorious Bologna was not successful in the championship of Italy. Yeah. All right, let's see. Nameless is saying maybe Sergio joins us now, and he's got crazy. Are you sweaty? What is that? Wait, what is this? You're going crazy over the eggplants? Oh, see, I already knew the Gradey Dick factor was already going to be something in here. And specifically with Nameless, drafting a guy named Gradey Dick might be a problem at times here. But, let's just see if we can keep it kind of not adult, but like mature. Let's just put it that way. Shir Khan saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. I used to watch a ton of ESPN because didn't know any better. But after a while, it just became like CNN. Content for the sake of content and not much substance. Their take's not good anymore. # sad. Yeah, seriously. I remember these news channels when I was a kid. they very much were like news. They felt like the evening news, like the local news that you got on 6 o'clock. And no, they don't even act like that anymore. It's like the half-hour turnover of the news cycle on ESPN in the morning or ESPN News channel was like you hear the same stories and they'd have the lineup and you'd hear like these are the things coming up. And you'd always see in the line Lakers, LeBron, Celtics, and stuff. And it didn't matter what was going on with them, whether they're good or not, you're going to hear a LeBron story. So in some ways, it was cool when they had like the lineup of what the topics were coming up. I see, oh, that's coming up. All right, I'm going to go get a sandwich while that's coming up because I don't care about that topic. So it's pretty cool when they do stuff like that. You know, some of the ESPN shows over the years have been fantastic. Shows like Around the Horn, Pardon the Interruption. These shows are good kind of pundity kind of shows because they were fun and they actually kind of had good expressive like opinions from good writers, people that actually knew what they're talking about for the most part. Now, Tony Kornheiser, he kind of pissed me off at one point with some bad takes on the Raptors. But a lot of times the Around the Horn people are fantastic. They're very much like people like Tim Kalishaw, Woody Page, people that are like the writers, like Doug Smith for us here, that really know their stuff down south. And they were fantastic. Those shows are entertaining, and those are kind of good little bites. But in some ways, those guys are personalities, but their personality isn't the most important thing. It's the content and what they're saying and how they express their views on things. Like Woody Page is a character, but he always had something to say that was worthwhile that you're kind of like, oh, that's insight and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you got guys like Kendrick Perkins and Skip Bayless and Jalen Rose and all these idiots just spouting off the stupidest shit, and they don't come off like they know what they're talking about, like a Kalishaw or a J.A. Adonde or, all those old great Around the Horn personalities that were on for so many years. So it's interesting because the Around the Horn, Pardon the Interruption stuff is kind of like the middle stone between Sports Center authentic reporting to get to the punditry of stupidness of First Take and a lot of the dumb stuff that's on now. So it's like the bridge, Pardon the Interruption, Around the Horn, from the real thing with Sports Center to the bullshit we got now. Seriously, it's like they spend it a little bit off of the PTI and the Around the Horn into this. So yeah, it's crazy. I used to love ESPN, Shere Khan. I love that channel. I loved ESPN News. They had all kinds of different channels. ESPN2 would show a lot of like NBA, like dunk shows and like highlight shows. And the blooper shows they used to show. The NBA blooper shows were hilarious too. Yeah, it's just not the same. And it's funny, it's interesting how in some ways it is true. CNN and ESPN slides are very going at the same time. Like CNN has slid really bad and very recently. Like their integrity is really out the window at this point, especially with like putting that Trump town hall on recently. Yeah, it just showed that they are like not good for society. And in some ways, they're just as bad for everything as Fox News at this point. In some ways, people used to say, well, CNN is a little bit better than Fox News. It's not anymore. It's really gotten to a certain point where it's in a bad place. Let's see. G saying, apparently A1 can predict a hit song 97. AI can predict a hit song 97% of the time. Our world is about to change and not for the better. So many jobs will be lost everywhere. Yeah, that's why, listen, as humans, we need to reject the stuff that is being generated from AI kind of stuff and say we just won't buy it. And that will help. If we really, it's kind of like going local. You want to buy local in your neighborhood to support people that live near you locally, like farmers. Well, let's buy human and stop buying AI. And this will be a fight at some point. And G's exactly right. We're about to go into a slippery slope. Part of it is that AI is not very good right now. In some ways, they very much need humans still. Like ESPN could hire a whole bunch of AI writers, but they're not going to do it exactly right. They're still going to need an editor that's human to look at what the AI wrote and fix it, because there's going to be problems with what AI wrote because it's not exactly right yet. So it's going to be very interesting. And there's certain ways that AI will not ever be able to replace humans in certain ways. But don't not think that corporations will figure out a way around those ways still to cut corners and not have to pay someone to do things like that. So yeah, we're in a weird place in this world. And in some ways, it's like, listen, it is what it is. We got to go with the flow, but we have more power than we actually think. And it's just that we need to be organized and make a decision as humans, as a whole, to reject some of the things that may be changing that we do not like. And we will have to do this in a very strong way. And if they don't make money off of it, well, they'll change back. Watch. If we reject AI generated content, they will have to go back to hiring people. It's just how it is. They want to still make money. Nobody goes there anymore. It's almost going to be like how they did Made in America. Well, down in the States, it was important to know where something was made. Was this made in America or is it made in China? Well, if it's made in America, I want to buy it. Well, this is going to be kind of like that. Is this made with AI or not made with AI? I don't want to buy it because it was made with AI. In my video work on Friday, when I review all my music videos, there's a lot of videos being made with AI at this point. And I have to look at it like, all right, there is some artistic expression by using the tools of AI in a video that can be like actually pretty good. But also there's real cop-out kind of videos where it's like they're just kind of overusing AI and they're obviously taking content creatively made by artists that they're not getting reimbursed for. So I really like if the AI is used in a way that enhances the video and it's not entirely the whole video, I don't mind a little AI. But it's like, that's what you got to find out or figure out for yourself because it is coming. And the thing is, they're going to fine tune it and it's going to get better and better. And it'll be even harder for us to figure out what is real and what isn't. And this is going to be a really weird times coming up. We're in a wild west of what is real and what's not. It's really going to become, the truth is going to be hard to suss out because of deep fakes, AI, and all kinds of other crazy shit that is possible. I listen to AI songs. They're doing stuff like they take Freddie Mercury's voice and they have him sing Beat It by Michael Jackson. And they said, this is what it would sound like if Freddie Mercury sang Beat It. And I'm like listening to it. And I have a very trained ear for music and like different tunes and stuff from history of all music, the libraries. Like I can hear when people rip off tunes from older songs and newer songs now. And well, it's interesting to hear Freddie Mercury sing Beat It because this is the thing. Every singer has their own kind of things about their voice, like where they may Michael Jackson may go tee ho or something like that, but Freddie Mercury ain't gonna do the exact same tee ho. So if they sing Beat It, don't fucking put Freddie Mercury's voice over it with all the same tee-hees that Michael Jackson would do because he's a different personality as a singer. And it just sounds fake when you have Freddie Mercury who would do his own personal inflections on the song Beat It than Michael Jackson. So it sounds fake to me because I'm like, Freddie doesn't sing like that. That's the way Michael sings, and you just used a Freddie voice. So it's going to be real interesting. But at some point, they're going to figure out how to make Freddie Mercury sing Beat It with the way he would do it with his own verbal and vocal tendencies. That's what I'm saying. So it's very interesting. And we got to be able to figure out what's fake and what isn't in a very increasing fake world. Seriously, it's crazy. Nameless is saying, please, Lord, if you're listening, help. It's Sunday, and Nameless is doing a little bit of praying on Sunday morning. I'm seeing that. Yeah. Nameless is saying, we want Sergio. He really wants Sergio to come here. We'll have to see. Trevor's saying, because girls love big dicks. What? What, Trevor? All right, let's see. Monica's saying, I'm excited for Gradey's introduction. Yeah, tomorrow. Gradey, Dick, an introduction press conference tomorrow. We'll see what number he's got. There's a little bit of speculation about what number Gradey will wear. Now, we've seen pictures of him wearing the number 1, in which that could be. He could be number 1 on our team because he likes to wear 4. He's not going to get 4 from Scotty. Scotty's got 2 years of wearing number 4, and it's not likely that Gradey's going to get 4 off of Scotty's back. So I'm going to predict that Gradey's going to be wearing number 1 because he's already in a couple of pictures wearing number 1. I don't think anybody else was wearing number 1 except for Will Barton was wearing number 1 last year. So I think the number 1 is open, and I think that's the one Gradey's going to be wearing. That's what I'm going to speculate. I may be completely wrong. Now, talking about jersey numbers, this is real interesting what's happening in Portland. You know that Damian Lillard's worn 0 for a very, very, very long time. We know the situation with him. He wants to win now. The clock is ticking. He's had a long NBA career, and he really wants to win now. Well, he's really pissed at Portland for taking Scoot Henderson. He wanted them to trade that trade so bad. And they went so hard to try and get Siakam for that 3 pick that our Raptors nation, some people went all crazy and say, why didn't we get Scoot? Why didn't we get Scoot? God damn it, they didn't trade Pascal for Scoot. And they're all pissed about that. Well, you heard what Pascal said last week. Even if we traded him to Portland, he wouldn't stick around to hang around with the Trailblazers after his contract was up. So, they didn't make the move, obviously. And then they went desperate on draft day and they made a Hail Mary to try and get Bam Adebayo for pick number 3. And Miami wasn't having it. They kind of laughed at Portland and how desperate they were to try and trade Bam to get Bam in Portland to help Dame try and win now. Well, it's looking real bad. Like they're failing at trying to please Damian Lillard. And it looks like he's going to want to leave. Well, Scoot likes to wear number 0, and so does Dame Lillard. So what's going to happen there? Scoot's going to wear 00, apparently. So it's like, Scoot, dude, he doesn't want to play with you. Don't you get that? Dame does not want to play with you, Scoot Henderson. And I think that says a lot right there. He doesn't want to play with Scoot. Seriously, you can tell. You can tell. And he's going on Instagram Live this weekend. He's got Welcome to Miami playing on behind him. He said, oh, that's just a mistake. That just happened to be playing at that same time. Don't read into it. Don't read into Welcome to Miami on Dame Lillard's Instagram Live. Seriously. He's like, no, that was just who the fuck is playing Welcome to Miami as a DJ anywhere at this point? Seriously, that song is dead and buried so long ago. That was very calculated. You know it was Lillard. You know it was. You're acting like you didn't mean to have that song playing. Who plays that song today? Welcome to Miami. Dun, dun. Nobody plays that fucking song anymore. That's why I know you calculated to put that on your Instagram Live. Ha ha. Ha ha. All right, let's keep going with the comments. Let's see. Nameless is saying, Chev was saying he heard Gradey drop from the top 5 because of his name. Laugh out loud. That's silly. Magic fans are pissed. Jet Howard, that pick was supposed to be Grady Dick in their minds, and they're still kind of pissed about this. This is hilarious. This is part of the reason why ESPN and other experts are giving us such high marks for getting Grady Dick at 13 is because they feel like he's a steal. A lot of people really do feel like he was a top 7 pick, and that the Raptors getting them at 13 is a huge, huge big deal because the value at that pick for what we're getting from him. I love hearing all that. I did a deep dive on Grady a little bit more, and it's true. What I was thinking is right. It really is. He's going to have to work on his body to be a capable NBA defender and learn. But his aptitude and his IQ is really good. One of the things that scouts are saying about Grady that he's so good about is he's a space eater. This is the thing. He's going to do some stuff that our Raptors didn't do so well last year. He's going to go to open spaces, and one of his best tricks is being able to fill it up and go take advantage of the way the defense sets up. They're going to have to play him really honest, but they're going to have to really watch him because in some ways he does some of the things that Yuta used to do. He loves to cut off the ball, and he really is the kind of guy that will make a defense pay for a mistake, just a slight miscalculation with their foot, and he's going the other way, and he's catching a pass, and he's finishing at the basket. He's going to be such a good target for people like Scotty, Fred, Jakob to just hit on cuts. And he's going to do some good things for us with our spacing this year. That's one of the biggest strengths he has is his basketball IQ and moving with the rest of everybody on the court, the opponents and the 4 guys that are on his team, and figuring out where to be at the right time and being an opportunist and making things happen. So I love that. That's something that we really, really need around our team. In some ways, he does that better, way, way better than Gary Trent does. So this is going to be very interesting, the factor that Grady has on our team with spacing. So watch for that this year, guys. Yeah. All right, let's see. Nameless is saying that kind of stupidity does not surprise me at all, and it's more likely true than not. Okay, thank you. We'll take them, dummies. No, I don't think it's true. I think that it is that like the players that got picked before him were just picked because they were the ones that those teams wanted at those points. And we just happened to get lucky. I do think we are lucky that we got Grady at number 13. And we're going to see it more and more in the years to come, for sure. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, all right. Name is saying, I think I care about his name. That's a joke. At some point, people are right. We're going to just get used to it. And it's going to get so tired and dumb with, like, the dick jokes. And, other fan nations may, like, use it against us. They may, like, do stupid things, like say dumb stuff. Oh, this or whatever. They may make bad jokes. But who cares? It's just going to be like that. I know Grady's put up with his whole life. And, he's used to it. So he has his own defense mechanisms for using the low hanging fruit that is his last name, that is really, really good. And I'm sure he's very used to people being stupid with his name. I'm sure that he is. Nameless saying, like not dating a woman named Olga if she's a dime. I don't care, damn it. You're saying somebody wouldn't date a woman if her name was Olga. Yeah, I wouldn't care if her name was Olga. That's a great name. What's wrong with that? My name's Alexi. So I was like, of course, Alexi would date an Olga or something like that. Yeah, that's silly. That is silly that you wouldn't date somebody because of their name like that. I mean, I guess there could be some very unfortunate names out there that make it tougher. But I don't think Olga's one of them. There could be some really weird name that you're like, yeah, I don't know if I can date you because that's your name. Is that really your name? Seriously, that's crazy. There was a girl I knew at Second City, and her last name was Spikerman. It's like she didn't want anybody to know her name, so she went by S. S. Her last name is S. What's your name though, Spikerman? What? That sounds like a superhero. It's a little weird, but yeah, it's cool. I like that. Let's see. Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex. Rabbit Freaks. Bam, bam. Good to see you, Bradley. I'm about to kick your butt for the week on the fantasy WNBA league we're playing. Bradley, check your lineup. Put your players in the lineup. You'll have a stand a chance because I kicked your butt this week. It's not even close, brother. And today's the last day. That's right. For your finishing up your WNBA fantasy week, get Sunday in good and get your point up. And if you're close, do it and win it. Monique saying, good to see Gradey and Marquis at OVO acting silly. That's right. I think that it's good that Noel is with Gradey because he's so serious. I'd be worried that he might hurt somebody because he is really on a mission. Well, Grady's going to keep things light and fun. And obviously, tossing the pigskin around at OVO Center this weekend was nice and light and fun. I really do like seeing those two guys together because they really are kind of different personalities. And it's just part of the rich fabric of the Toronto Raptors personalities on the team right now. Gradey Dick and Marquise Noel, the latest additions. I love it. Nameless is saying, I'll just call her Ollie or some crap. Yeah, I can call her Olga. I don't care about that name. That name's not bad to me. I mean, some people may think it's a weird name. There's a lot worse names than that. Seriously, come on now. A lot worse names than that. All right, let's keep going. I didn't jump ahead, of course. I will get back to where I'm at, and then I can read them all. All right, let's see. Shir Khan saying, maybe a hot take, but I like the NBA TV game coverage way better than ESPN. Their game time segment gives equal coverage to all teams. Is NBA TV under the same Disney umbrella or different owner? Hashtag real TV. Yeah, I can agree with this. I think NBA TV does well because they have a lot of former players often in the studio covering it. And usually their main guy is not too annoying. And you're right. They're just the facts. They have that Sports Center kind of mentality of highlights, stats, a little bit of insight, but none of the extra bullshit. I'm pretty sure NBA TV is just run by the NBA and that their own entity. They're not connected with ESPN or TNT or anybody. It's just the NBA because it's NBA TV. They've had a channel for a long time, NBA TV. On the cable network. So that I think that's just what it is. It's just the continuous NBA TV that has been with NBA the whole time. I don't think they're under any umbrella other than they're an NBA owned channel. Denal saying, come here, Gugu, at Nameless, laugh out loud. Shoot, I'll take me that dime all day. This is a day. We all have different preferences. I don't know if name is actually a high preference for a lot of people. Unless the name is really, really weird and crazy. Some of these celebrities that name their kids crazy, like Apple, or like poor Elon's kid. It's like X3847 or something like that. These poor kids. Like, what is your name supposed to be? Northwest? What is this? What kind of naming is going on with celebrities and their kids? It's kind of crazy, some of the stuff they get named. Seriously. Let's keep going. Cool Cat saying ESPN and traditional media moguls do not understand how to market to media savvy consumers. They try and create drama around the Lakers, show sports, educate is on sports current and historical context and stats. There's so much to sports that you can cover and do that's better than tabloid shit. Leave this stuff to TMZ. TMZ has their own sports website at this point, TMZ Sports. And it has a green logo instead of the red TMZ logo. And they will focus just mainly on sports, tabloid kind of bullshit. ESPN, you don't need to cover that. That TMZ Sports has got that covered. And I know that maybe that's the hot stuff, the clickers, the things that get them watching Zion and Moriah Mills bullshit. But honestly, in some ways, you want to draw a line of like, we want to continue to be a certain level of trusted integrity in journalism. And y'all don't care about that anymore. And people that know what integrity in journalism looks like, we can tell that y'all are slipping and that this is kind of bullshit what y'all are doing at this point. Mike is saying Boucher mentioned the team listening to the noise in his hustle play. He didn't provide context on whether it was certain players being bad or the trade rumors. The new comment adds context to that, in my opinion. Yeah, I appreciate that. And obviously, there was a lot of noise. There's more noise than ever, but it's not going to change. In fact, it's intensified, it's more negative, and it's weird. And that's the thing that these guys need to realize. They got to be like Kareem Thomas and I, just cut Twitter off. Twitter is such a cesspool of bullshit at this point. It has not much redeeming qualities at all at this point. And these guys, it's not good for their health if they're going in social media spaces and hearing just the stupid shit that people are saying. Don't be like Kevin Durant. You don't need to go in there and fight these fights that Kevin's fighting on your own behalf in certain ways. It's just not worth it. Jalen Brunson this weekend said he hates Twitter, and I agree with them. And it's partly just because of stupid bullying, trolling, people with dumbass opinions that they'd never say to people in their face, but they feel boldened and brave enough to do it behind a keyboard in anonymity. Yeah, if you said that shit in real life to people's faces, you would not do that kind of disrespect. So you go ahead and hide like cowards with your gross little trollish comments and insults. Yeah, you would never say that shit to some of these players' faces. A lot of the stupid ass out of pocket shit y'all say on Twitter. Yeah, it's bad. So I don't want our guys looking at Twitter, especially. That's one place they do not need to go. If you guys have Twitter handles, just get rid of them. You don't even need to be on there. There's nothing redeeming about Twitter at this point, Chris Boucher and the rest of the Raptors. Trust me, I'm getting off of it myself. And the only thing I want from there is like Woj bombs, Lewenberg bombs, Shams bombs. That's all I care about on there at this point. I can get content from other places, better places with less bullshit around it. Let's see. Leslie saying, good morning, Tom. Maybe ESPN wants the Lakers to take over in China. Notice they don't really talk about Houston. Yeah, in some ways they may be punishing Houston on the down low. Who knows? It could be, let's do some windbursting real quick. Who could have gotten this first pick? In some ways, it may have been very orchestrated that the San Antonio Spurs would get Victor. Because if Houston or Orlando or something like that, or Detroit even had got him, it may not have been good for Victor's career. Detroit has a history of dropping the ball on prospects and not really doing things correctly with them. Orlando, not necessarily the factory that's kind of taking care of everybody who comes through there. And Houston, a very dysfunctional, messed up young team. And honestly, they may be on the down low being punished for things against China from Daryl Morey from before. So they definitely do not want the generational new talent, Victor Wembanyama, going to Houston. So in some ways, I wonder if it was very calculated that San Antonio won that draft. And I'm a huge San Antonio fan, and I'm glad it went this way. But this does seem kind of like very convenient and the right thing for Victor in the NBA for long-standing success, securing that he will be all right in the situation he lands in the NBA. He goes to any of those other teams, there's no guarantee how he'll be handled, and he could have a really messed up career because of a bad franchise. So they want to make sure they send him to pop. And it's evidenced by the dinner he had this weekend with great Spurs legends like Sean Elliott, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson. Having a fantastic dinner. And Victor is saying that dinner with those Spurs, he learned more about the NBA in a couple hours of sitting around a table with those guys than he knew his whole entire life. That's what Victor said about meeting with Robinson, Duncan, Ginobili, and Elliott. So I love that. I love that so much. Victor is really getting set up right. It's all been a dream, and it's all going perfectly so far. He's exactly right from that Old Man in the Three podcast with JJ Redick when he landed in New York last week. He said, I just go with the flow of life, and things are right. Everything's written and already all planned out for me, and everything's going to be good. And he's right. He's in the vibe and the flow of life. Shows up at the airport, gets his breakfast tacos, has so much love around him, looks perfect in a San Antonio Spurs jersey with wearing number 1. And everything's working perfect for him right now. And I expect the things on the court to go real well for him also. It's going to be really fun. Really, really, really fun. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, too true, true, too true. And Tom's also saying LeBron is not sure where he wants to own his franchise, Vegas or Beijing. Yeah, I think he wants it here. I don't think he wants it in China. That'd be a little weird if he's owning a team in China, but I wouldn't put it past him that he might do that. But they've already made it very clear he wants the expansion team in Las Vegas. He wants to be the owner of a team in Las Vegas when the NBA expands into Las Vegas. He wants to be the owner of that team. Cowboys saying, true, cool cat. Also, I don't watch or listen to any smack the ESPN, etc. do or say. Why you think I'm here? Who was the punk that said no one likes playing here and it was different? Yeah, Chris Bouchard. Just they give a platform to a lot of knuckleheads that just talk out of their ass. And of course, they don't care about respecting the Raptors or anything they've accomplished or anything about our franchise. So they'll sully us and diss us all kinds of different ways with idiots like Channing Frye and Jalen Rose. Yeah, yeah. It's not for Raptors fans, that's for sure. ESPN. Logical saying the fans turned on D'Lo in the Western Conference Finals, even though he helped win the first and second rounds. The Lakers are in a beggar mode, but the fans think they still can get anybody they want. Toxic beyond all measure. Yeah, in some ways, they don't have a connection to reality with what's going on with their team in any kind of way. And if we look at it this way, Mike, the disconnect between Lakers fans and what's happening with their franchise actually could be applied to us. That there's a disconnect about what we're doing and what they perceive what we're doing and what the reality of what we're doing is. And it's actually very much in the reverse of how they look at the Lakers. They're pumping up the Lakers, saying they're this and this and this, but they really are hamstrung. Rob Pelinka is going to have a hard time doing stuff. They think people like Gary Trent's trying to flock to them. Well, you found out he's not. And, you'd be very surprised how maybe a lot of people are avoiding the Lakers and they don't really look at it as seeing as a great destination to come to. I know that hurts your feelings, Laker Nation, but this is just the damn truth. In some ways, y'all are kind of, yeah, people avoid y'all. And even the Heat, y'all got rejected recently too. Y'all aren't used to that. You think everybody's just flocking to LA and Miami just to be for your teams? Not everybody is. Not everybody is. That's right. And y'all got rejected, Miami. Just own it. Bradley Beal rejected y'all and went to Phoenix. You know he did. And don't act like you guys, oh, he didn't reject us. You got rejected, Miami Heat. I'll keep saying it over and over again. Bradley Beal rejected you for the Phoenix Suns. You know that's the damn truth. All right, let's keep going. Kareem Thomas is here. One of the great, funny comedy Raptor freaks. We love Kareem Thomas. Brian Winders of ESPN thinks the Lakers actually look good getting swept. What a fucking spin zone. I'm tired of these ridiculous takes. I know. Seriously. It's like, what are you trying to save the Golden Goose, ESPN? Oh, the Golden Goose is the Lakers and LeBron. We got to make them look good, even if they're absolutely horrible. Well, how can you fucking shine up a turd so much to make it shiny? No, you can't. That turd is still a turd, no matter how much you try and shine it up, ESPN. We know the Lakers product has been a turd most of the last 5 years. Yeah, it has. And y'all still try and shine up that turd and put it and present it for us every night on your stupid ass coverage. We're just sick of it. And Kareem's exactly right. How the fuck do you look good in a sweep? Seriously. And Michael Malone's exactly right. Y'all should have been putting shine on the Denver Nuggets instead of fucking talking about the Lakers so much in defeat. Oh my gosh. Tom Duke saying, gotta laugh at the bias. Yeah. In some ways, you just got to laugh at it, disregard it, and move on with your life. Stargate saying Canadian sports media has to step up now. They have to start checking the xenophobic sports media entities down in the U.S. A lot of them seem to be afraid to criticize their U.S. media counterparts. Well, they're brothers in arms in some ways. They're patriots. They're comrades because they are in the same field. And in some ways, they don't care. Like, they don't care about this. They're just the same kind of thing. They're corporations and they just want to make money. And in some ways, they understand there's a line. Like, we see it up here because ESPN stuff gets up here somehow, some way, because people want to see it. But they're not going to see stuff that we say up here down there. Nobody's watching TSN in the United States, whereas people will be watching ESPN in Canada. So there's a little bit of a difference here. Now, I can't see any Canadian sports personalities taking a stand like this and saying this. Now, maybe somebody like Chuck Swirsky or Matt Devlin, they're saying, like, I'm sick of how they talk about Canada. I live here and I became a Canadian citizen. I love this country and it's a great place. I've heard Chuck Swirsky be a very strong advocate for the country of Canada. Matt Devlin, same kind of stuff. Jack Armstrong, same kind of thing. So those kind of people may speak up, but I don't expect anybody corporate. Like, you're not going to see Rod Black or Rod Thorne or whatchamacallit, Van Sickle or any of these people that used to be on TSN or different people saying anything. Darren DeTushin, these motherfuckers, they got their own thing they worry about, and they're just worried about Canada stuff, and they're not going to speak out on this. They just won't. Nameless is saying some of the best trained pilots in the world are still Canadian to this day. Americans have even used Canadian pilots in their fighter jets, so suck it. Yeah. And seriously, I hate that. American exceptionalism isn't like excluding veterans that work alongside them in conflicts. The vets from those wars that were American will say, you better respect and be respectful towards Canadian veterans because they fought next to us and died next to us also. And that's the thing. Vets don't like you dissing any vets. And when Jerry Lawler said that on an episode of Monday Night Raw, it really pissed me off. And I thought, veterans are going to be like, you're disrespecting their vets up there by saying that Canadians don't have any military that is honored or anything like that. That's absolute bullshit. And what Nameless is saying is exactly right. We have some of the best pilots in the world for fighting in fighter jets. And then on top of that, we also have some of the best snipers in the world. Canadian snipers are well known for being some of the best shots in the world. And in fact, that was part of the reason why we were involved in Osama bin Laden, getting him when the U.S. went and got him when Obama was president. We were involved in that. So, they want to conveniently forget that we contribute, France contributes, the Great Britain, it contributes. All of us contribute in our own ways in all these conflicts, whether it was in Iraq. We didn't really go there ourselves, but we were definitely there in Afghanistan when the U.S. was over there recently in recent years. So it's kind of like, conveniently forget and disrespect our vets. And you will find out American vets will be just as pissed because it's kind of like you're just disrespecting vets. It doesn't matter what country they're from. All right. GMA G84 is here. Good to see you again. Laugh out loud. I have the NBC song as my ringtone. It freaks people out because it's so loud. Only try ball fans comments and compliment on it. That's awesome. I love that song. Seriously, John Tesh is a great composer, if not a great co-host to Entertainment Tonight. Mary Hart and John Tesh here with the latest Hollywood gossip. Yeah, John Tesh, modern composer. Yeah, he's so good. I love that song, man. That's awesome. You got that as a ringtone. Name is saying Canadian pilots have taught and instructed American Air Force pilots. Fact. Yeah, I believe that. I seriously do believe that. The snowbirds are no joke. Seriously, them snowbirds are no joke. Don't make me laugh. That's right. Mike's saying Gradey is a unique first name. It's easy to recognize. Using Gradey should be fine, in my opinion, and how I'm going to go about it. Yeah, you should. That's what I'm doing, Mike. Seriously. He's going to have that name on the back of his jersey. He's going to say Dick. But, whatever. Let's be a little older. Now, it's Gradey with an E, just so you know. It's not Grady, just D-Y. It's Gradey with an E. So you got to spell the grade word out and just put a Y on it. So it's like first grade Y. That's his name. So make sure you spell it right, Mike. We want to give respect to our Raptors and the way they like their names done. O.G. Anunoby and Gradey with an E. So make sure you put that E in there. And I can teach people how to spell Yakapurtle correctly if you need to know how to spell Yakapurtle right, guys. Marlon Toby is saying for Malika Andrews to rehash the whole incident involving Brandon Miller on that draft night was not necessary at that time. I'm glad you brought this up, Marlon Toby, because this is a recent controversy on ESPN. Now, I actually am going to disagree with you, and I'm going to say that she's actually doing the right thing here because in some ways she's reporting facts. She's not speculating, and this is an important concern about Brandon Miller. He's an accessory to a murder in the recent months, not like a year ago or something like that. This shit happened in 2023 where this woman was murdered, and he was involved in this situation. Now, people say, oh, he's exonerated. He didn't have anything to do with it. He's not in trouble. But in some ways, it is a question mark. it is something like, well, where is he in the whole line of violence? And with things going on the way they are with Ja Morant right now, forgive teams for being a little worried about this kind of stuff. In some ways, this speaks a lot about Scoot Henderson once again, because Brandon Miller is getting picked above him by Michael Jordan personally, by the way. Michael Jordan made the last draft pick, and he picked. This is a big statement. Once again, Michael did not like Scoot Henderson. Seriously, that's what I'm telling you. He brought both of them in last week, and he made the choice himself, all by himself. And Michael said, I like Brandon Miller more than Scoot Henderson. That says a lot right there, too, Scoot lovers. Just so you know, Michael Jordan did not pick Scoot over Brandon Miller, and he very much made that call. Now, I like Malika Andrews. In fact, when she takes stands on those shows from her perspective as a female and as a Black woman, I think it's very important for her to do that, because in some ways she is a real reporter, because she's actually talking about stuff that matters and is important. Some people say maybe it's tabloid or tacky for her to bring that up, but that is a valid concern. And this thing is something like, I don't know how much the University of Alabama, their sheriffs in Alabama, covered shit up for him. You got to understand, these college players, when they come up at FSU, when I was at Florida State, they would help the football players with legal problems and cover shit up. They would very much work with law enforcement to make stuff go away so that their careers would not be messed up. Now, forgive me for growing up in the South and seeing how big schools in the South, like Florida State, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, treat student athletes in these kind of situations. Jameis Winston had a rape covered up in Tallahassee when he was the quarterback of the Seminoles. So I'm very skeptical that Brandon Miller's exactly not guilty in this situation, and that law enforcement working in conjunction with the University of Alabama may have helped get him through this in PR ways so that he would still have the money, because it's good for the University of Alabama and their legacy, and it's good for Brandon Miller in a lot of ways. Now, it may be unfair to bring it up in some ways, and maybe I'm off with this, but these are valid concerns in today's NBA when you see something like what's happening with Ja Morant. And I'm not saying that he has a gun problem. I'm just saying that it looks really bad being an accessory to the murder of a young woman in Alabama. People may say it was tacky for her to bring it up, but I stand by her. In fact, a lot of her controversies in the last couple of years, I stand by her because she's been right. And I don't think this is wrong for her to do that. This is a part of the whole thing. When you're thinking about a player coming to the NBA, you got to think about what their baggage is. And this is baggage. Well, it seems like he's going to get clear of it, and maybe help from them, and maybe he is just innocent and he shouldn't be treated like this. Well, this will go away if it's not going to be a problem any further. If it's not going to be any kind of new problem where there's some other incident or something like that, well, it'll go away and it'll be forgotten over time. And I do hope that for Brandon Miller, because he doesn't need any more knuckleheadedness coming on around him. And the Charlotte Hornets definitely don't need any more knuckleheadedness around their team. So that's what my opinion is on it. And I understand why people think it's tacky, or you think that it was out of place for her to say that on draft night. But I'm actually with her on that. Nameless is saying Canada and U.S. are so intrinsically tied together at this point. They facade as two separate countries. The way global militarization is headed, do not be surprised if in the future the two become one. Listen, there is some weirdness in the states right now where, red and blue states are very much different places. Making abortion illegal. There's all kinds of different things happening in different states where people are kind of sorting themselves out, the red and blue states. If you're more red-minded, well, you stay in Florida and Texas. If you're more blue-minded, you start migrating to California and New York. Now, there's been some talk that some of the states would love to join Canada and just leave the U.S. or something like that. Or maybe they make one country where we take the West Coast of Washington, Oregon, and California, and those kind of left-leaning blue states, add them to part of Canada, and then all of New England with New York, Connecticut, everything there, and a whole big chunks of those parts and then leave the big red in the middle can be their own stupid, crazy country. Now, what they'll find out if that ever happens is that the middle country is going to be in trouble because there's going to be less economic drivers from the cities. They're going to have less tax money. They're going to become poor. And in some ways, they're going to have a brain drain where they're going to be kind of a dumb country. Like they'll become very, very stupid, that middle America part, and they will not do well. They may think that they're so great and they'll be able to do fine, but they'll realize just how much the city of New York and Los Angeles really propels and takes care of this country down the states. So it's interesting. In some ways, the US is repeating history because they're allowing a divide in their citizens that's very similar to like the divide that happened before the Civil War. And then some people are even using language on the right wing side to be ready and be vigilant for when we need to take to the streets and take our country back and start our own new version of the US. These motherfuckers think they're in the Civil War and they want to start doing shit like that. Seriously. But this is a dangerous time because this shit could actually happen with the way that the media is putting people against each other with culture war in certain ways. And they think, oh, they're trying to force trans people down our throats. Well, we're going to go fight them in the streets with machine guns. This is so fucked up, the way they amp up the two sides. And the states is in danger of disintegrating and turning on itself. So, yeah, we don't learn from history. We got the states repeating history before the Civil War and also before Nazi Germany with Florida and Ron DeSantis down there. So you go ahead and make your own little Nazi Germany, Florida, and you go ahead, United States, and start lining up like you're going to do North versus South, Civil War version number 2. It's really scary in some ways and messed up. And there are forces out there that want to feed that conflict and make money off of it. You're disgusting and you're going to hell for that, just so you know. Yeah, there you go. Bam, bam, bam. Now, I don't know what will happen. Some people always say, they used to tell me when I was a little kid, the American kids, they say, we're going to just take over Canada whenever we want. Fuck that shit. You ain't coming up here and doing that. No, you're not. Canada is a separate country. We'll keep it separate. Now, if you want us to absorb some of your states that want to be more liberal and be like us, well, maybe we'll do that. But otherwise, we're not trying to be with U.S. They got their own problems. We don't need them. Nameless is saying, combining American population and Canadian national resources and land, a real global superpower. Bring it, China. Yeah, that is part of the reason why they treat our basketball team like it's storage, like with good parts for them to just come take when they want. They think of our country that way too, with all the timber and the water and stuff. They're like, oh, Canada's got all these natural resources. We'll just take them over and we'll use them when we need them at some point. No, fuck that. We don't do that kind of shit. This is a sovereign nation. And, the rest of the world may have a problem with you coming into Canada. If you ever tried something like Putin did with Ukraine, with Canada, yeah, that'd be messed up. That'd be very messed up. And in fact, that's a good example of what happened with Ukraine is that, that would be the equivalent. It'd be like if Biden decided, I'm going to take over Canada right now. We're invading it right now. That's the same thing as Putin with Ukraine right now. So let's see. Monique saying, Lex, I'll very likely we'll see Bill Self at a Raptors game for Gradey, you think? I think you're right. Kansas coach Bill Self probably will show up and say hi just to support Gradey at some point. I mean, I guess it'll have to do with when his season with Kansas is going on and he's free to be able to come and see him. But I'll bet he will come and support him in some way, but maybe not. He has a lot of players come through his program that become NBA players. So I don't know how likely that'll be. I don't know if that's for sure. He may just give them support from afar on the phone or something like that, but not actually show up and be at Scotiabank Arena. So we'll see, Monique. I don't know if it's likely. It could be, but he has a lot of Kansas players in the NBA, and I don't remember him showing up for Svi Mihalik or something like that at games. So I don't know why it would be any more special for Gradey, other than, he's the latest guy who came through. Mike saying made by human label. Yeah, made by humans. That may be very important in the future. Kareem saying, I don't know. Allen Iverson is as real as it gets. Yeah, I like Allen Iverson a lot. Oh, he's making a joke about the AI. I was like, why is he talking about Iverson? I said, oh, AI, I get it. Professional saying AI, Allen Iverson was a legend. Let's go Sixers. All right. Professional with his Nick Nurse jerseys in the house. Hey, good to see you, professional. Yeah. Tom Duke saying necessary. I assume even those Raptors content videos are some dude plugging in a few words, catering to Raps Nation. The videos with computer voices. Yeah, I wonder about that too. I don't know. I'm not looking at those. Some people just have really bad voices for doing stuff and they change them. You can actually put your voice through voice modulators. So it could be that that is somebody's voice, or they don't like how their voice sounds and they do put it through like a text reader. And that's why they come up like that. They're gross and they're so like kind of like cold and unhuman that it's like, I don't want to hear it from a voice that says like this. In 1998, the Toronto Raptors drafted Vince Carter at those videos. I know what you're talking about, Tom. Tom saying, I was referring to Mike's comment and agree. A human made label is a good idea. It is going to come to that. Seriously. In some ways, that's part of the reason why I want to move out to the cottage, is because I want to take care of more of my own stuff and not have to worry about all this other bullshit that's going on in the world. Homesteading and being self-sufficient may be very important, especially with your food supply. The way the groceries are going up and there's so much greed, corporate greed as far as with food at this point. Well, I want to get food my own way. I'll put it in the ground myself and eat it myself and cut everybody out. Seriously, because it's going to have to get like that in some way. Seriously, with how the prices and just the greed is going right now. Yeah, true, Tom. A robot in the dark. Just a robot in the dark. It's a robot in the dark. Some Dio this morning. Cowboy saying, I wasn't talking about Mike. I'll learn Ukrainian for Helga, fam. All right, do it nameless. Bam. Just for Helga and Olga. Let's see. Monique saying Scotty camps have begun. Okay, I'm glad Monique brought this up. Let's go to Instagram and do our Instagram check with everybody. We'll start out with the superfan Monique Lawrence. She's talking about Marquis Noel passing the chef's kiss to Canada. Marquis is really embracing being a Raptor. I love this so much. He's retweeting fan art of him in a Raptors jersey. He's showing so much love and respect, and you can tell he's a loyal dude. This guy's a Raptor. We anointed him coming here for a two-way. He is going to be loyal to us. Watch down the road as much as he can be, and I love that so much. She's got a red blue and a blue pill. I think that's with Precious and Gradey's looks, because Precious got a blue thing on and Gradey's got a red thing on. She's saying, will you take the blue pill or the red pill? Okay, Monique. She's got the synopsis of what Gary Trent Sr. said on the radio show. Let me just go over it real quick, like piece by piece real quick. He says that right now, Gary Jr. is working 2 a days right now on being a well-rounded guard. Gary is looking forward to working with Darko Rajakovic and was the key of opting in. So us hiring Darko, Gary Trent Sr. is saying that it was very much a factor in Gary Trent Jr.'s option opting in with the Raptors. So hey, there you go. Darko's already paying off. Gary was upset that his opportunity of stability was taken away with one night of him playing 35 minutes a game, other night 14 minutes. So he was upset about the instability, and that makes sense. Gary wants to stay emotionally and mentally stable for all situations. He thinks everybody needed to be at a unified stance. He talks of a disconnect between the coach and the GM. He says the team had 9 guys up for trade. Only Siakam wasn't for trade. Now, see, that's bullshit. How do you know that they had them up for trade? They never announced that any of them were up for trade. They didn't trade anyone, first of all. So still, I don't get this. This is messed up. If they were trying to light a fire under guys and get them more competitive by saying any of y'all can be traded except for Siakam, I still don't believe that, because like Scotty couldn't be traded either. I don't believe this. I think Gary Trent Sr. is being over dramatic, and maybe he's just reading social media too much. Saying the whole locker room felt unstable, whole locker room felt like they didn't know what's next. Yeah, maybe Nick made him feel like that because of poor leadership. Seriously, he was not leading them right or making them feel comfortable at all as a team. In some ways, Nick thrived on people feeling uncomfortable, and that's how he tried to get things out of them. And I don't like that. And he may have been the whole source of how the locker room felt unstable, was just Nick being a fucker. Players didn't know their role, the direction of the team, the direction of the franchise. I can blame Nick on that. I can seriously, and Masai and Bobby were kind of letting Nick just run the team, and they were kind of doing their own thing. They need to come in and tell the guys exactly what they had planned. We want to keep you together. You're our core. We're running it back. We want y'all to be together. And now that they know, they feel better right now, I'm sure. Well, I'm bet Darko's going to be that linkage between the front office and the players and reassuring them about the direction of the team and the franchise and what they're trying to do. So, yeah, Nick let too many people feel like things were too unknown and too unsettled, and nobody felt comfortable. And I hate that. I hate that so much. And all it took maybe was Bobby and Masai coming down and saying, guys, we like y'all as a core. We're trying to go forward. Don't be afraid of anything. Well, maybe Nick had to make them feel like they're in trouble so he could try and motivate them to play better. That's not the way to go about it. Get Darko in there and make them feel better, and you'll see a difference in how you get the output from them. Watch. Let's see. Also, he's saying the whole roster was in a hunger and grind and practices where a lot of 5 games of one-on-one, 5 games of one-on-one on defense. Yeah, there's going to be none of that with Darko Rajakovic. They ain't going to deal with that. He said guys were upset at shots. Guys were upset at feeling they're being overlooked, and they would take 3 shots on consecutive possessions. And somebody's trying to say it's a shot at Fred VanVleet, but I don't believe that. I don't know about this. And once again, when you're posting stuff, Monique, proofread these people. If they don't know how to spell, they're probably not a reliable source. Like this person's writing word like where, putting the H in there. That's not correct spelling. And that's a giveaway that maybe somebody shouldn't be like taking. Like I know they're writing what was heard on the Raptors show with Will Liu, but whoever wrote this up, they really they don't give me confidence because of them making the mistake with were guys upset at shots. What is this? Too many guys were in question marks, where and question marks. Yeah, this is showing that this is not a good source, Monique, if they're spelling things wrong like this. Senior felt Gary feels confident of new coach and work ethic, feels Darko can see Gary up close, and since Darko is a new coach, can be open to new information of players. And Gary Trent Sr. says he doesn't know Darko, but knows he's a professional who's a guy that knows the NBA life. All right, so there's a lot of confidence in Darko from these guys, and it's awesome. I love that about that. All right, Fred is doing his camp this weekend also, and I love Fred so much. And guys, we need to give Fred so much love and respect. We're going to find out soon. Listen, on Saturday, it'll be the first. And I'm going to tell you right now, Fred's going to get figured out in the first couple of days of July. He's just too hot a commodity. The Raptors, if they want him back, they're going to want none of the noise to get out of hand. They're going to want to tie this up real quick. And I'm telling you, they're going to figure out Fred maybe in the first day of free agency, and everything will go according to plan. Hopefully, we'll hear that Fred VanVleet is a Raptor on Canada Day, y'all. So he's having his camp this weekend, and he's got movie star and of Menace to Society and Dead Presidents, Larenz Tate. Y'all know Larenz Tate? He's from Chicago, Illinois. He's in a bunch of movies. And he's at Fred's camp talking to the kids. And I love that Fred's got a movie star friend that showed up for his camp, Larenz Tate. Y'all know who I'm talking about. He was in Dead Presidents and also in Menace to Society, those great movies. But very cool to see Larenz talking to the youngsters at Fred VanVleet camp in Rockford, Illinois. Really, really cool stuff. And then cool to see Fred out on the court with the kids also. Good stuff. Love you, Fred. So awesome to see your Fred VanVleet Family Foundation so successful this weekend and your camp also. Very, very good stuff. Scotty doing the same thing as Fred. He's doing his camp down in Florida, and he's got Brian Macon filming stuff. And Scotty's got a whole bunch of kids there, and he's running with the kids on the court. He threw a alley-oop off the backboard and threw it down. And he's playing with the half pints, and he's just throwing dunks down. He does a 360, and he's saying, good cardio, laugh out loud. Scotty, why are you even playing with those kids? Those kids, it's not fair. That is very unfair what you're doing to those children. But it's funny to see Scotty out there with the kids, being a big kid himself. So I kind of like that. Really, really do kind of like that in some ways too. All right, let's see. Gradey is putting his look on blast still from the draft in his red suit. And then, like I said, he's in the OVO Center with the pigskin, throwing it to Mr. New York City, Marquis Noel. Love that. Precious, really cool. He's singing in a car. I don't know if he's still at Paris, France for Fashion Week, but he might be. But he's really got a good singing voice, honestly. Precious, you might need to do some music because you were singing on your Instagram, and honestly, it didn't sound bad. You could at least appear on something with Surge or something. Get on a Surge project and just be a background singer or something. Because Precious has some good harmony in it. He's like going with the song he's listening to, and he'll sing with it all of a sudden. His right perfect tone. Just from my educated musical ear, Precious, you actually got some pipes. So maybe you should start singing. So there you go. There's your Instagram check with the Raptors from yesterday. Camps are in effect for Fred and Scott, and looking like good turnouts with lots of good youngsters getting good knowledge and instruction from our great Raptors at their camps. Mike saying maiden label is standard. Made human should also become a standard if more AI built products hit the market. Well, the interesting thing is, in some ways, we got to understand these products won't be manufactured things like T-shirts or like electronics. These are going to be products that are manufactured through arts, like writing and music. And the label may not be able to be attached to something that's online. So it's almost like you got to have the warning in the article or in on the piece on the YouTube video or something like that. This was music made by AI. You know, it's very interesting. Wild West AI, and you're right. This is we need some sort of signifier so that people know what content is AI made and what is actually made by people. Kareem saying, I wonder how Mark Strong is going to introduce Gradey Dick coming out of the tunnel every home game. This is going to be comical. Mark Strong, you mean Herbie? Oh, you mean Strizzy. You mean Strizzy. That's right. His name is Mark Strong. I always just call him Strizzy. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get the start. So that could be interesting. Of course, they'll introduce him at the beginning of the year and put him on blast. And of course, when he comes in, Herbie will go crazy when he says, coming in the game, number one, Gradey Dick, or something like that. But yeah, Strizzy, I don't know how he'll introduce him. We'll have to see. I don't think you'll get to start anytime soon. So you probably won't get to hear Strizzy introduce him, but you'll definitely get to hear Herbie introduce him when he comes in the game in the middle of the game. So we'll have to see, Kareem. Nameless is saying there's no Helgas or Olgas in the chat right now, right? Yeah, listen, I think those are great names. Helga, Olga, there's nothing wrong with those names. Tom Duke saying, I think you said her name was Olga, nameless. Get it right. Wahaha. Good luck learning Ukrainian. And then Nameless has got the butthole face, and then he's crying, and then he's got love face, bro, I'm dying, and then 0 and 00. That's right. Like, Scoot, you're not making any favors with Dame. It's like he knows that you want 0 from him. So you're going to take 00, and now it's going to be 0 and 00. Okay, whatever. It's going to be interesting. Trevor's saying the Raptors cut smart. The Raptors outsmart them, so they went and take Scoop because they know we wanted him. Gradey Dick, numbers 00. Yeah, no double zeros on our team. I think it's really bad what the Celtics did. I think that they really fucked up by trading Marcus Smart to Memphis. I think that they don't realize just how much Marcus Smart is like the heart of that Celtics team and that they really fucked up. Seriously. In some ways, this is part of the reason why I don't want to trade or lose Fred is because he is the same role on our team right now. And that you're going to see the Celtics miss Marcus Smart next season in the same kind of way that we would miss Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet. I don't think the Celtics are a better team next year. Brad Stevens is saying that this was done for balance. Well, I think that the way your team was and the makeup, you just lost a very important part of it, and you don't even realize it. Porzingis may look like a shiny good idea, but honestly, what has he done in his career? And what happens with him when he's around a team? So, yeah, Celtics, thank you for getting worse by trading the heart and soul of your team. And you can see the fan nation's upset. They're like in shambles about this. In some ways, Marcus Smart was like not happy about it, but he moved on real quick. And he's embracing life as a Grizzly now. And now, Boston, you're going to be second guessing this all year. Seriously. There's going to be all kinds of people saying, man, this was better when Marcus was around. Or, man, I miss this about Marcus. Sure, you won't miss the bad shooting and some of the weird shit he would do, but you may not realize the intangibles of what he brought to the Celtics as a leader. And thank you, Boston, for getting worse this summer. Seriously, I'm not as worried about them next year because Marcus Smart's in the Grizzlies jersey. Yeah, there you go. Peanuts, baby. Peanuts. Monique's saying CBS Sports gave us a 4 draft Gradey, an A for drafting Gradey. There you go. People are giving us high marks for drafting Gradey. It should be. It's basically that saying, seeing people on Twitter say they would rather have D'Angelo Russell over Fred is ridiculous. Yeah, I think that's absolutely ridiculous too. And that kind of shows the aptitude of the person who's saying it. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're exactly right, Space Cadet. In some ways, it's really funny to me because you have a proven winner, a guy who's won at every level that he's played most of his life, and he's undersized. Sure, he's got certain attributes, but he's a winner. He wins. D'Angelo Russell doesn't win. He doesn't win. That's why I don't want him on our team. I do not want D'Angelo Russell in Toronto. And everybody was saying that we should do a trade with the Lakers to get D'Angelo Russell and trade Fred there. You're crazy. Seriously. You are absolutely crazy because you're trading a heart player, just like Marcus Smart, just like Kyle Lowry, for a guy who's a overused, high efficiency, a low efficiency, high usage kind of player that is not even that good on defense. It's like if he's not going to be that good on offense, well, I'd hope he'd be a super excellent defender. No, he's not. So he's kind of deficient on both ends. And why would anybody want that? I don't want D'Angelo Russell. And if a fan starts talking that way, I immediately discredit them. And I'm just kind of like, you know what? I can't listen to you because I don't respect your opinion. Mike's saying Space Cadet, that's pure delusion. Yeah, Mike's with me. We just don't respect somebody who's going to pick D'Angelo over Fred. Shere Khan saying there's a lot of misinformation out there in regards of Chat GTP and all that. Another AI. It's not real AI, but merely an algo that spits out what you program into it. It's not original content, just rehashing of old data. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the stuff with the art's interesting because they take little bits of art all around and they put it into amalgamation of art. And you can see little bits of people, artists like technique and be like, oh, that's kind of my art there, but it's just in that little part. You got to wonder about that. Like, the old way that kids could cheat on reports is they'd go and get the encyclopedia and they just reword sections or paragraphs from the encyclopedia on the subject they're supposed to be writing about. Well, this is different. This is kind of like that, though. Just kind of repurposing information that's already out there and regurgitating it from an AI standpoint. Oh, it just manufactured this. It's really funny and used in wrestling world right now. Like some people are messing with Chat GTP by making bookings for wrestling. Like they're going back and they're taking like the old Nitro stuff with Sting and Hollywood Hulk Hogan and the NWO and how they would have booked that Starcade with Hogan and Sting that got so messed up with stupidity because they didn't put Sting over Hogan and it was really dumb. Well, they asked AI, how would you book this wrestling match? And it's very interesting the ideas that it comes up with. Of course, Shere Khan's exactly right. It's all derivative of stuff from other places that actually happen. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, but that's the thing. They're going to fine tune it and they're going to change it. And then at some point, maybe AI will be able to create the content themselves in some other way other than repurposing already out there content. Very interesting. Mischief saying, funny you say Gradey Dick should have the number 0. I just bought Blue City version OKC jersey Westbrook number 0 at Walmart, $50 online and got it on draft day. All right, you go, Mischief. Yeah, all right. You're a big Westbrook fan, I see. Yeah, I don't think Dick's going to wear number 0. I think he's wearing number 1, seriously. G saying, proud to say I've never had Twitter and never will. Toxicity breeds toxicity. Depression has gone up since social media. Much better to use YouTube channels you enjoy and go outside and touch grass. G, with some good life advice for everybody. Stay away from Twitter. Listen to YouTube channels like ours and go touch grass. I love it, G, so much. All right, let's see. Professional saying, I do him all-time starting 5 lists for every team. And for the Raptors, I have Lowry, Carter, Kawhi, Bosh, Gasol. What do you think? I split on Siakam at power forward. Bosh was a better defender, in my opinion. No, he wasn't. Yeah, your list is kind of crap. It is. I mean, I'd put Lowry on there. Lowry's fine. He may be the only one I agree with. The other 4 I probably can. I'd very much probably pick, like, if I'm picking the top 5 Raptors of all time, I'm very much on the record for who that is. DeMar, Kyle, Fred, Pascal. And if I have to pick a center, you know what? I'm going to pick Jonas Valanciunas. So fuck that shit. Mark wasn't here long enough. And I think Jonas was a very important part of our team. So that's my 5. If I got to pick 5, all-time starting 5, at least to me, as far as real ones and people that stuck around that were important to the franchise, yeah. I'd probably pick Fred and Kyle at the guards, and then I'd put DeMar and Pascal at the forwards, and then I'd put Jonas at the center. That's kind of where I see the importance of these guys. Mike saying, Gradey, okay, thanks for the correction. I did notice Mo using a knee, so I figured that. Yeah, it's Gradey with a knee. Just make sure you get it, Mike, and then you'll look professional. Unlike Ware or instead of Weir. All right. Iceman like Gervin's here. Good to see the Minutes Police at Marlon Toby. Facts. Malika Andrews was assassinating his character at the biggest moment of his life for no reason other than to slander him. Malika Andrews has a history of attacking men on ESPN. Yeah, I don't like that take. I really don't. because in some ways it's fair what she's saying. This is true what she's saying. It's not like it's libel or slander. It's not slander. It's true what happened. And sure, maybe it's not the best time. Maybe it's supposed to be his biggest moment, stuff like that. But fuck, man, don't get in that situation or allow that to happen. You know, you should be really guarding your shit. Like that's why John Moran is so careless. Is because, dude, you're an athlete and you have a career ahead of you and lots of money to make and all kinds of stuff that you can fuck up real quick. And Brandon Miller messing with guns and giving a gun to his friend who goes and shoots his girlfriend, that does not look good, the optics of it. And, in some ways, I'm going to side with women on this every single time. You can call me a man hater like her, but she's right. And in some ways, we need to be on the side of women more than men because women have been subjugated to a lot of bad shit over the years. And the thing that should be the most important thing here is not Brandon Miller's draft day and whether he got drafted. The thing that's most important is a young woman died. And that is really what I would see on this. Now, we don't have to agree on this, but this is where I'm at with this. Because in some ways, her name, I don't even know it. And somebody died. Now, let's just put it that way. She was murdered. And he was connected to this. And sure, you can go ahead and say that was tacky or something like that, but this is just the damn truth. And as I said, this just happened like a few months ago. It's not like this is old buried news from like years ago that she shouldn't be bringing up. This is current. And this is still kind of a case in Alabama that's being sussed out through the legal system. So I think it's completely fair she did that. You can say that she has a history of attacking men, but you know what? I want a strong woman on broadcast that's taking things from a woman's perspective. And forgive her for being the person that's on the platform to speak for women against violence against women. Because ultimately, this story about Brandon Miller isn't about Brandon Miller. It's about violence towards women and how it's fucking wrong. And when you murder a young girlfriend or woman for whatever reason, that's the biggest issue here. It's not whether his night was ruined, it's that a life was lost. So let's keep perspective on this. And listen, you guys can think that way, and I have no problem with it. This is where I stand on it. Let's just put it that way. Tom Duke saying, I want to know that that fact if I'm going to cheer for someone. You want to know whether they're like that or not. Like they may have been accessory to murder. That's why Tom's saying it's important what Malika said. Well, most people know the story, and I can get it from their perspective. It's like, well, don't bring it up tonight because it's draft night, and this is a special night, and it's supposed to be his big moment and stuff like that. And I can get that perspective from it. It has been really talked about, and it is kind of well known. So just playing devil's advocate for both sides. I could see why they're saying like, well, she's ruining his moment by bringing up this bad stuff. Well, in some ways, I get it, and as a woman, I understand why she did it. Not as me as a woman, but why her being a woman, why she did it. I understand why she did it. Sheer Khan saying, believe it or not, YouTube comments and live stream is the only social I have. Never really got into it because I didn't have it growing up. Maybe it's just being an older millennial now because I never needed it. Just avoid all that mess, Shikan. Your life is probably better. Seriously. Tom Duke is saying, I do agree Malika likes to stir it up and probably will continue to do so. Well, in some ways, she is a woke warrior and she's at the front line and she's been targeted for being too like women's rights or standing up for women. And on that case, I'm telling you, women have been subjugated to a lot of violence and bad things over the history of time. And in some ways, what she's shining a light on is important. And that's why I kind of stand by her. I don't think that she's always right, but for most of these controversies that have been around her, I've stood by her and I've been on her side because I think that she's right. I think in some ways when she gets in those battles on ESPN with the male counterparts, they sometimes degrade her on publicly on TV. And I think that's wrong. That I think her voice is important and that there is a little bit of chauvinism towards her at times on the channel. And I forgive her for fighting out against it in some ways. It's not that we're anti-men. It's just that women are valid and equal, and they need to be heard and not disrespected in certain ways. And in some ways, that's kind of her platform and who she is as a personality on ESPN. And I think that's valid and important in today's world, honestly. But, we don't all have to agree on this. And maybe it was tacky for her to say it on draft night. Seriously. In some ways, you could say that because it's on blast. Everybody knows about it. Well, let him have his moment. In some ways, it's kind of like when that young lady got graduated from high school recently, and she decided to do a little skip dance across the stage. And the teacher decided, you know what? I'm not going to give you your diploma because you did that show off move just now. And that she ruined her moment of getting her diploma at that moment. It was awful. I get it. That's kind of what Malika was doing with, Brandon becoming drafted. That's kind of the similar kind of thing. Well, you shouldn't get that moment because of that. So I can see both sides, but I'm very much for her. I think she's an important, good person on ESPN. I don't really lump her in with those other people that I'm talking about on the stream today that are toxic on ESPN. I think that she's a good force on ESPN, and that is more likely Kendrick Perkins isn't, or Skip Bayless isn't a good force, or Stephen A. Smith quite often. Denal saying, my friend's cousin, Canadian, I believe, is the actual guy who took bin Laden out. I'm from New York, but suck it, U.S. I've heard that. I've heard that there's a couple people that, were very closely involved in this that were Canadian. Monique saying, LeBron calling out Mike Malone on IG. Apparently, LeBron's still salty, shaking my head, a crybaby. Listen, in some ways, LeBron looks stupid. He's at Le Mans. He's doing the car race or the bike race or whatever. He's involved over there, and he sees that Michael Malone's talking about the Lakers at the parade. Well, he's really responding to ESPN and our subject today, that he's sick of them over talking about the Lakers and LeBron so much. And it's not even about you, LeBron. It's about ESPN and the overexposure of your team. And Michael Malone's right. And you kind of look stupid when you're talking about them in reverse. Let them have their shine. Seriously, they're the better team than y'all. They were the whole time. And the fact that some people are trying to say the Lakers are still better than Nuggets, you're delusional. And honestly, LeBron, you don't really have a lot of room to talk shit right now because Joker's the better player in the league and they're the champions. So, yeah, I think LeBron looks tacky in this. I think Michael Malone, he had every right to talk trash about the Lakers because he did beat them. He did kick their ass. And the owner saying that he made them, that he was their daddy, I'm perfectly fine with that because they won. They have the license to talk shit. And LeBron is a loser making salt back the other way. Yeah, that's not necessary. You should have just ignored it and just lived your life. You acknowledging it is actually worse, LeBron, in some ways. Let's see. Cowboy saying, let's go. Canada and the Raptors. That's right, Canadian Cowboy. Jason Smith saying, what you think about the undrafted point guard? I love him. Marquis Noel is the latest version of Fred VanVleet. They are in the same kind of frame. This guy's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got a lot of proof. And I've said in recent days, Jason Smith, that I feel like he's going to be this person at the bottom of the pecking order on the Raptors roster on 905 as a two-way that's going to push the competition through the whole team up. It's going to be very similar to when Fred showed up out of Wichita State, and he was really on fire as a youngster coming in. It really kind of elevated the competition all levels, going all the way up to Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan at that time. This is part of the reason why the Raptors overachieved with the bench mob in those years with Dwayne Casey, is that Fred was at the bottom of the pecking order, pushing everybody with his contributions of being like really wanting to get further. People had to worry about their spot because Fred was coming. Well, I'm going to predict this with Noel right now, that he's going to have the same kind of effect at the bottom of the pecking order for the Raptors this season, that he's going to try so hard, he's going to play so well, that he's going to make the competition on the Raptors light up and be a burning fire and be so like crazy competitive just because the little guy at the bottom of the roster is coming for spots, just like Fred did 6 or 7 years ago. So that's what I'm predicting right now, Jason. I love this pickup. I love that Noel's fully embracing coming here. And I love the prospect of what he might do with our team in competitiveness just because of the fire inside of him. Mike's saying, sounds like GTS came to the same conclusions as my end of season series. Yeah, well, there you go. You've educated minds inferring things. You're watching things. And Gary has more insight because he's his son, Gary Jr. Yeah, it makes sense. Denal saying, I like Desmond a lot as well. If he pans out, he could be another great point guard, and he's 6'4". All right. Once again, I haven't looked at the Summer League roster yet. When we see the full Summer League roster, I'll go over it and really give you an overview of everybody who's showing up to Vegas to play for the Raptors at Summer League this summer. Next week, by the way, on the 7th. So, yeah, I'll definitely got the info on it. I still haven't done my research on Desmond or any of the other Summer League signings that have happened the last couple of days, but I will soon. Mischief saying 5'8", 23-year-old Noel is too small. I would have drafted 19-year-old Jurassic instead. He still won't let go of that Nikola guy. Are you Nikola yourself, Mischief? That's funny. Listen, don't count out that height. 5'8". We've made this mistake before. I'll tell you, when Fred showed up, I was like, there's no way Fred's going to make the NBA. Well, he did. He went against what I thought would happen. So I'm definitely not going to make the same mistake with Marquis Noel and say this man can't make the NBA. Because I said the same thing about Fred when he showed up in the 905, and I was very wrong. Very, very wrong. Just like people are wrong about Fred right now. Shir Khan saying, as far as Miller is concerned, there should be a presumption of innocence unless proven otherwise. Hang on. So many young lives have been wasted just by allegations. DA said no charges could have been put on Miller. I know that, Shir Khan, but also I lived in the South, and I know how sports, college sports, and law enforcement work together to help young men avoid big time problems. They will cover shit up for people. And maybe he is completely innocent, and this is just unfortunate. Well, I'm sure he learned a valuable lesson before he even got in the NBA that you may need to watch out with guns and firearms and the people you're around, Brandon Miller. Because if you ever have another incident, anything like this ever again, they're going to point to this one before you got drafted, even if it's unfair or not. So optics, they do matter in certain ways. You can ask John Morant. They very much do matter. So, yeah, there we go. I agree with you. Innocent until proven guilty. But also, I don't trust the justice system of the state of Alabama. How about that? Omari saying, I know it is a 0.5 offense, but I hope Dick doesn't shoot prematurely. That could get messy. All right, Omari's taking his dick joke for the stream. I'm giving everybody one dick joke since Gradey showed up. Omari, you get that one. That's fine. Listen, the thing about Gradey's shooting, in all seriousness, is he's really, really good at shooting in all kinds of situations. I deep dive more on his shooting and the way he does things. He doesn't need a lot of time. It's kind of like he can touch it and throw it right away. In some ways, he's like Del Curry like that. Del Curry back in the day for the Raptors was very much a catch quickly and shoot quickly kind of guy. And Gradey is that guy. So he's not going to need a lot of time to get that shot off. So if it's a little premature, that may be on a purpose. Let's just put it that way, Omari. Of course, this joke is going to be there. The word premature is not going to be used with Gradey anymore. All right. I'm declaring it right now. No more wording with premature and Gradey Dick. All right. It's Amari's joke. He got it out of the way. All right. Mo's saying, denial. Remember, it's only a summer league contract and training camp deal, I guess. Yeah. Desmond and those summer league guys. Yeah. There's somebody online who supposedly knows the NBA, and they're saying, oh, just because Marquis Noel got a two-way contract doesn't mean he's ever going to get to play in the NBA. I'm like, you're an idiot. You don't actually understand what a two-way means. You know, even Ron Harper got in for like 5 minutes last season at some point. He did get to play some. So if you get a two-way, you're guaranteed you're going to get NBA minutes. You're going to get to realize your dream of stepping on an NBA court, if not for one game at least. You know, you can ask David Johnson. He got drafted by the Raptors after Delano Banton. He did get to play in the NBA technically that year. He did step on a court and get a few minutes. Noel's dream of playing on an NBA court is going to come true. A two-way player almost always gets some time on the main roster. That's why it's called the two-way for you casuals that don't understand. Two-way players do actually get to make it. Now, Summer League invitees, that's a different story. They don't get as far. And they don't possibly for sure. But Noel, he's going to get his chance on an NBA court. Watch. Yeah, I'm all about it. Iceman saying at mischief. Isaiah Thomas, Nate Robinson, Spud Webb, Muggsy Bogues were thought to be too small as well. Noel has a chance to make it in the NBA. All it takes is one team to believe in him. Totally right. Exactly right. And it'd be kind of fun to have the shortest player in the NBA on our team, because he probably will be if he makes it, you know, if he's a two-way, he's going to be 5'8". I don't know if anybody else is shorter in the league than him right now. So that's kind of cool and prestigious in a way. Now, if Noel goes in the direction of Muggsy and he really focuses on being an assist point guard, he could have a very successful NBA career because he has a really good passing aptitude, and that is really a big, strong strength for him. So, you know, guys like Earl Boykins, Muggsy Bogues, Isaiah Thomas, Spud Webb, they were good point guards because they set up bigger guys. So if Noel can really be a good point guard, it doesn't matter if he scores or shoots really well himself. But if he can be a setup guy, an old school kind of point guard, he could have an NBA career. Seriously, they'll figure it out. I agree with Iceman on this one. Mo's saying Marquis saw Muggsy's tweet and retweeted on 5'8" comments. So nice to see. Yeah. it's good to see the bond between Raptors legend like Muggsy Bogues and a new guy coming in as a two-way, Marquis Noel. I like it. My Iceman is saying also Giannis doesn't like Malika Andrews, and Giannis is one of the nicest people in the NBA. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not paying attention to who doesn't like her and different things like that. I think that her being in the position she's in is tough enough. She's going to get criticism either way. In some ways, women that get into power positions like that, like Hillary Clinton, they get dragged through the mud in unfair ways that aren't fully like needed or right. And in some ways, she's a trailblazer and she's getting dragged through the mud partly because of that. Giannis is a nice guy, and maybe that she did rub him wrong. But not everybody's going to get along with each other, and I'm not going to go by whether Giannis likes someone, whether they're a good person or not. I don't know her as a person in person. She may be an absolute bitch, but honestly, I think that what she's doing is very important. She's giving a good example for young African American girls of you can get to this point and be this person on ESPN, and I think that is very valuable in itself. Cowboy is saying Gradey is going to go off on one of these games, and I can see the headline now. Dick whooped the Sixers' ass, didn't miss one shot. So, laugh out loud. Sorry, last one. I'm so happy we got Gradey. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be using the word ass in the headline unless we're really heading towards Mike Judge's idiocracy and that everything expletive is fine and everyday language and stuff like that. So I don't expect to see that headline with Sixers ass in it. And yeah, the wordplay there is a little bit too explicit, Bradley. I don't think that's going to be on newspapers. Isaac Campbell's in the house. Benevolent Isaac Campbell here from the nation's capital in Ottawa. Good to see him. I don't need ESPN or other hot garbage news, but I do enjoy seeing your lovely names in the interwebs. Positively Raptor Freaks for the win. Thank you, Isaac Campbell, for being here. I appreciate it. Iceman saying Brandon is a witness for the prosecution. When Adrian Payne died in 2022, Malika Andrews brought up an alleged sexual assault case that he had at Michigan State where no charges were ever brought up. Yeah, I don't know. She has a history of kind of having inopportune times of bringing stuff up. Okay. I get it. I get what you're saying with the Adrian Payne thing. And that may have been very kind of like trashy to do it And I like that Brandon is cooperating with the prosecution with this whole case. So that does definitely go in some ways. In some ways, I'm not educated on this whole story. I'm just kind of like going by what I've heard in different places, but I appreciate more information. That makes me like Brandon Miller more, the fact that he does care about this young woman's death and that he's working with the prosecution. That's important for sure. Now, the other stuff with Adrian Payne, I don't want to dig into it too much, but you know what? All right. You're giving me more of a full picture with her. Cowboys saying, let's go, Raptor Freaks. Let's go. And then also, G saying Gradey does not need to bring the ball down to shoot. He can't catch high and shoot right away. He can catch high and shoot right away. This is such an advantage in the NBA. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, G, for sure. That is a huge weapon for us, and we're going to need it. Sheercon saying W Stream Lex, you're not going to get any dick jokes from me. Don't roll like that. Hee. Got to go now and touch grass. Gradey's going to jumpstart a culture change. Things are going to be way better post Nick Nurse. All right, Sheercon. I love that positivity. I really do. I'm going to try and finish it up in the next 10 minutes or so. Cowboys saying, think he can also pump fake and go in for the dunk or pass. Yeah, his cutting's really good. In fact, I wanted him to shoot more than cut so much in the highlights, but he really has a proclivity to make a fake for a shot and then dribble around the guy and try and attack the rim. We'll see how successful he is in that kind of mode. One of the things people will say about Gradey is he's not good at creating his own shot. So in some ways, he is kind of different than Gary. Gary still can very much create his own shot, but Gradey's not good at that. He's going to need to work off other people to get open shots. So it's good. In some ways, people say Gary and Gradey are kind of similar, but they're not. Gary has a different skill set than Gradey, and Gradey has some of the things that Gary doesn't have. So it's really good. They kind of fit together with different stuff as shooters. Let's see. G saying, yep, Cowboy, in the larger NBA court, he actually has more space. Yeah, but the players are bigger and faster. And what does that make up for the more space? Those guys can get there quicker. Logical saying, facts, G. I think the tall spacer is a key type to have W Stream. He's definitely going to help the other guys get their offense off. because he will cause them to have to watch out for where he is. And if he's savvy with where he goes and where he is in different places, he could really open things up for other guys in that kind of way. Hopefully, Darko will really understand this and he'll use him in those kind of situations to get good spacing for our guys. Our spacing was not very good last year. Well, Gradey should help with it. Let's see. You know it. Cowboy, bam. Jimmy saying, apparently Kansas loved running in transition, so Gradey should fill in phenomenally. I'm hyped. I just got a feeling about him. He's definitely going to be a fan favorite if he's already not already. Yeah, he is. He's going to be. And you know what? One of the things I heard is he's really good at transition threes. Like he's the kind of guy that can go in a fast break and he will stop on a dime and bomb a three and hit it. It's not like this kind of thing where we're going to be like, that's not good. That's not smart fundamentally, because he'll actually make them. And he's good at shooting kind of off balance, apparently. So it's kind of like this thing where they may be running up the court. Somebody's going to the basket, like Chris or something, and he sees Gradey in the corner, or he throws it to Gradey, and he's just stopped running too, and he catches it right away, and he shoots the three in. But yeah, he's good at running in transition and hitting threes. It's really, really good. Cowboys saying, I agree, Lex. Homestead is a dream of mine. Yeah, that's why I'm leaving the city. Get your own land and put your own food in the ground and take a lot of people out of it. And don't even get messed up in the money side of it in any kind of way. You know that carrot was grown in your ground, you eat it. The potato, whatever you're growing, to at least take a chunk of your food budget down, because you're supplementing some of the things you would eat from what you're growing yourself. I think even people in the city, even if you don't have a yard, you can get into growing things like potatoes and stuff in your apartments. Just look into it. And I think that everybody be smart to start growing some of the foods that they like around themselves and taking care of themselves instead of relying on Loblaws and other companies to gouge us for those same products. The more you can become more self-sustaining with your food supply is probably smart going into the future. Trust me. Omari's saying Gradey fills the lanes. Omari can't help himself. We'll let him have it. He hasn't been here much lately, and I'm glad he's back. It's so good. All right, G saying one more thing. Fun fact: Booker was said to not be able to create his own shot and would need to be on a team that manufactures shots for him. This is in his draft report. So you're saying that even though that was said, well, look at Devin Booker and how he had developed as a player from his draft report saying that. Well, I'm going to hold my breath on Gradey, because in some ways he has some athletic stuff he's got to overcome to be able to beat the quickness of the NBA game. So in some ways, I could see where it could be a problem where he's not able to totally create stuff himself off the dribble. It's going to have to be like he's a catch and shoot, or somebody sets him up with a really good pass. But he's going to be such a good target, whether it's moving or around the 3-point line. He's going to be a really good target for guys no matter what. All right, let me finish things up real quick. We were just being critical of ESPN today and just getting away from being what it used to be. A couple of people sitting at a Sports Center desk telling you the highlights and the stats and the news from sports the night before. It's come and gone into so many other dumb, stupid things. They're a distraction and sully the journalistic integrity. It's more an opinion piece, an editorial. It's more just talking heads talking out their ass. And ESPN, you could fix things up by just getting back to the Edward R. Murrow School of Journalism. And just get back to the old school, the way Sports Center used to be with Craig Kilborn and Keith Olbermann back in the day, that kind of stuff. I hate where you guys are at. And I seriously am rooting for the NBA to switch TV contracts away from ABC and ESPN to somebody like NBC again. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that all goes. So, yeah, stop being the Laker fan channel. It's not necessary. And honestly, it turns people off. How much you cover LeBron and the Lakers, it's just not right. You should be covering all the teams. And the Nuggets are exactly right. Michael Malone is exactly right. And Lakers Nation and LeBron, you can think you're the center of the world and everything revolves around you. Well, it's just not the damn truth. The NBA team is the champion of the world right now is the Denver Nuggets. People say, oh, you said champion of the world. Well, the NBA is the best league in the entire world. And the Nuggets are the best team in the NBA right now. And that's why I say it that way. All right, let's keep going. Monique saying, W stream Lex all around. Keep at it as always. Couple more days till we find out more of the assistant coaches. Go Raptors, good times. Don't forget about the Meetup, guys. That's right. Thank you, Monique, for bringing it up. July 15th, Saturday, 3 p.m., we are having our Raptorsfreak annual meet and greet. where we will be at Real Sports Bar and Grill next to the Scotiabank Arena at 3 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. Please come down there. It costs nothing to come in, but we would like you to spend some money in the establishment, get some food or a drink or something like that. You can come down and meet me, Monique, the super fan, and other people on this channel. We're going to congregate down there, and hopefully more of you can make it. July the 15th, 3 p.m. It's a Saturday, and we will be at Real Sports Bar and Grill at Jurassic Park across from the Scotiabank Arena. Cowboys saying, everybody have a blessed day. Bam. Later, Lex and Raptor Freaks. I've been in the hospital since Friday. What? This cowboy shot himself in the foot with a 4,000 PSI pressure washer, and about hot in an all good. All right, good. Jeez. Cowboy, I hate hearing that you've been in the hospital this weekend and that you shot yourself in the foot with a pressure gun, a pressure washer. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Wow. Well, get better, Bradley, and get back out there. And I'm glad you're okay, and we'll be thinking good thoughts of you. Yeah. Isaac saying pole beans, peas, and cherry tomatoes are an easy place to shine or to start. Let's grow. Let's grow. Let's grow just like the Raptors. Let's grow with our food. Omari saying, get well, Cowboy. Have a blessed day, freaks. Thank you, Omari. Check out Omari if you need a place to rent or a mortgage, or you're looking for a house around the 905 or the GTA. Omari Parsons is on the internet, and you can look him up. He's a realtor. He can help you find a place to live. All right, Mike. Get well, Cowboy bro. And y'all, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I appreciate y'all being here. Let's go, Raptors. Be proud of your team. We got all kinds of good stuff coming up. And I am so happy about some of the latest developments with the new personalities coming to the Raptors. It's going to be a fun year, guys. Tom saying, let's grow, Raptors. That's right. Cowboy saying, don't forget peppers, Isaac, the best fruit on the planet. All right, y'all. Let's go, Raptors.